Flatter and faster that time by Kitchen.
Tough start as well to have to start up to the left-hander. Normally against the right-hander looking to skid into the pads.
This time over mid-off, that's another lovely shot. More timing, just the one bounce. Excellent start by George Worker.
Just gone that fuller length again as Kitchen and Worker up to the task. Clean, easy swing of the bat. Just gets the length he's after.
The left-handed, the left-hand spinner is going to the leg side, which is the big side, but straight is still small. That's nice timing too. This shows how short that side is through the offside to the left-hander. Excellent start. 12 off the first over.
First over down here, 12 without loss. The Stags move on to its throw to our man AJ.
Yeah, that's right, mate. 6 in the first over, we're just talking about it. And there is a flood of humans going to the merchandise tent. They've already got their bigger line than McDonald's on a Sunday morning. So they are absolutely loving it. And keep an eye out for the other side.
Alongside George Wiggins. Number 3. Better than when your opening partner gets you off to a good start in that first over.
You too could be a winner, thanks to Dream11 Super Smash.
Jacob Duffy will take the second over. Keep an eye out here to see if there's any swing. Certainly was in the first game with the new ball. Maybe surprising that Kitchen opened up.
Breeze ever so slightly right to left behind his back as well. Going to be assisting any away swing that Duffy's able to get.
A little bit of movement. Cover sweeper and also deep square leg to the right-hander. I'll be interested in the bounce in the surface. It's been a lot of rain in the deep south in the last week. It looks very good. It's been browned off, but the question will be how hard it is. But it looked like good bounce in the first game. Sparks versus the Hinds.
I agree, Craig. I think the bounce looked, the level looked okay enough. It was probably just the hold in the surface that at times made batting slightly difficult. And it's just around as a bowling side adjusting to that exact length that you need to be bowling. I think as well, Central in the women's game earlier, they missed too wide. So batsmen can just throw their hands through it, even if it is stopping in the surface a little.
There's a wee bit of swing there, the Yorker length.
I think as we saw in the earlier game, the spinners through the middle played a key role. So if they can get through this power play with as little damage as possible and then control the innings through the middle with spin, I think that's going to be key in this afternoon's game.
Try to tee off there. It's into a big open space mid-wicket, getting around. Will they take on the arm? It's not that far, probably about 50 metres at best.
Yeah, slightly interesting ground dimensions, having a shorter side. Can be big into the pockets of the ground, and then you add in the wind into it as well, and batsmen need to be smart about where they look to attack and how they look to attack at each end. But that's also on the bowlers to know how to protect, how to defend.
Very strong through there. And sometimes, though, you can actually focus too much on the small boundary, whether it be your tactics from a bowling point of view, but also from a batting point of view. One of the benefits with the left-hand, right-hand combination is that that side always is in play every over.
Nothing worse as a captain having to set fields to left and right-hand batters, so hopefully they can get one of these out, probably the left-hander.
Nearly chopped on. That's going to run away. It's going to be a good chase, but another boundary, bit more luck involved, but you always take it from a batting point of view.
Done everything right. Here's Jacob Duffy there. He's created a false shot from the in-form. George Worker just cramped him up for room with the ball shaping back in, but somehow has managed to jam down on it, bump it over the keeper, and picks up 4 as well.
It's a cool game, isn't it? Sometimes things go your way and sometimes they don't. The thing here for Jacob Oram is he's getting swing. Jacob Duffy, not Jacob Oram. Jacob Oram never got any swing. Clipped. Missed his line. And Worker has put the pressure right back on the Volts. 2 gone, 23 without loss.
Changed the field. Put 2 back on the leg side as protection. Thought he could close out his over by getting into the hip of George Worker. Just went too far. Gave him a freebie off the legs. George Worker away and running already.
2 overs gone here at University of Otago Oval. The Central Stags 23 without loss. Into the attack now for the
Mitch
Otago
McClenaghan
Volts. From the
will now take
number 81,
third over, the
Mitch
left
McClenaghan.
armour. He'll look to bowl a lot of variations. He's got his slower balls, his cutters. Again, would have probably bowl more outside off stump to the right-hander. Yeah, apologies to Jacob Duffy, comparing him to Jacob Oram. Jacob Oram would have got a bit of drift with the breeze.
He still rolls his arm over a little bit for the White Ferns. Gets a bit too much bounce for us, so sometimes he even has to sling off his knees because he's too tall.
Pace will be about right though, Susie, for Jacob. Huge amount of experience for Mitch McClenaghan. Decided to come down south. Good asset for the Volts. Good running, took on mid-off. And he will, we'll see more probably indication of the pace of the pitch with McClenaghan because he will look to change his pace. He hits the pitch hard. Into the pitch bowl, he won't try and swing it.
He's not afraid of using the short ball either. Very experienced campaigner. He's got all the tricks and he's prepared to use them all as well. And he may well need every one that he's got in his back pocket. George Worker in scintillating form. He's already raced out to 22 off just the 11 balls.
Oh, it's a beauty. Absolute beauty. Went away off the seam.
I just love the energy he bowls with every game he plays, and he brings really good energy to the crease, whether it's going well for him or not, but that's one of his best deliveries, and if he can stay in that area, he's going to be successful.
Long on back, deep square back to George Worker.
It's a tactic we've seen a little bit of already so far this Dream11 Super Smash. George Worker quite similar in the way he goes about things to a Devon Conway. Just looking to get into the left-hander's hip. Try and target those pads as a way to bowl dry dots, ones. Just been punishing on any little bit of width that they get.
Bailey Wiggins, right-hander, opening with George Worker. Neil Broom with some bright shoes. The right-hander looks very orthodox. Standing out. Oh, lap, innovation, it's gone high, an opportunity. And put down. Put down, McClenaghan can't believe it. And they've got through for a couple.
Fast bowling, mate. Hasn't helped McClenaghan out here whatsoever. Does all the hard work to get underneath it and then just simply shells it.
Watching that replay, I was wondering if Renwick could have got to that ball with the gloves on, but it may have been just a little bit out of his reach, and unfortunately Ray without the gloves couldn't catch it.
Over the top, not brilliant timing. It might pitch, the outfield is not that fast. they do well. Hold it to a couple. So a chance that over, but it's a good start by the Stags. 29 without loss.
That's 3 overs down here at University of Otago Oval. Stags 29 for loss from no wickets. Time to check in with our man in the crowd, AJ.
Yeah, with some boys on the beans here, and I love a good bean bag, so they've done well bringing them in, but we've also got a bit of pest control. Hey, Hannah, what have you seen out there on the other side of the back, mate? Any pests? No, they're all behaving on the far embankment? That's good stuff, mate. And you're talking about your favourite player before, Captain Fantastic. Who was it, mate?
An opportunity in the previous over for the Volts, but Matt Bacon, they chop and change their bowlers, 1 over spells. Maybe I thought Jacob Duffy could have had another one. It was swinging. Made a change to the Volts from their normal lineup, or that they've had previously. Matt Bacon's been there, but Michael Ray, who put that catch down, has come in. Dale Phillips. The bounce. He does get bounced, Bacon, but an opportunity here, and you've got to take these.
Yeah, Wiggins trying to access a boundary at the end of the over. It does all the hard work. Slightly bemused Mitchell McClenaghan.
I don't know if bemused. Internally, it might have been different, Frankie.
He reacted quite well to that drop, I thought.
New team, you see. New team. This time, this is a wonderful shot. That is fantastic. Up and over cover.
Could watch that all day from George Worker. Beaten the ball before by one that's lifted outside the off stump. Bacon goes fuller. Just the extension through the shot from Worker. It's simply outstanding.
Oh, he looks in good form. He really does. George Worker.
He had 2 back-to-back 70s Pukakura Park. It's just scintillating to watch.
Slav all this time. Again, the field set, the 2 on the back on the leg side, that short side I'm talking about here at University of Otago Oval, but previous to Libya was wide outside off stump. So sometimes you're thinking, right, I've got to stay away from the short side, but then you don't set your field equivalent. You get caught out.
It's also the balance on this wicket of taking wickets and defending. It doesn't always provide a lot early with the new ball, so you can tend to go a little bit defensive, but you've still got to be thinking wickets in the power play.
Picked up, shoveled around the corner.
At times has been a little bit of a bowler's graveyard as well. Always the happiest place to come, and Jacob Duffy at the toss talked about how they had to bring the extra bowler in. They felt like they needed that extra option, bit of bowling protection. This man on screen, he's had a wonderful Super Smash so far, leading wicket taker for the Volts. 7 wickets so far.
That's nice and tight. Tell you what, it used to be a graveyard for batsmen in 4-day cricket when the red ball was around, especially early on. But I think from memory, in the last 2 years, this has been rated as one of the top 2 or 3 pitches in the country for 1-day cricket and T20 cricket.
Must be batsmen doing the voting then.
Yes, that's right. He went for the lap again. Was that a wide? Yeah, too high from Bacon.
Wiggins seems to love that scoop shot. He's been dropped on it once, and maybe Bacon saw him go early and went for the bouncer, which is tough to play when you get into that position. So potentially a good option from Bacon when he saw him go early.
A slow ball. We'll pick up an easy one. So another good over for the Stags. 39 without loss.
Play on New Zealand cricket. All of the black caps, white ferns, and Super Smash matches.
George Worker showing he meant business right from the moment he stepped to the crease today. Going down the ground off with the spin of Aranu Kitchen. Aggressive right from ball one. Good off his hip. And they've missed leg side, but it's off width that he is most punishing. Up and over, extra cover for 6. Glorious shot.
Number 37, Michael Ray.
Yeah, it shows there's good pace in this pitch and it's a good batting surface. Jacob Duffy did get some swing. He only bowled the one over. All right, Michael Ray. He likes a sweatband. He's got a yellow one on. The question is, has he been able to put that drop catch out of the mind? He will run in and try and hit the pitch really hard. Slow ball to start with, beaten third man. Picking up boundaries at perfect times, the Stags.
Seen a lot of this field position so far, the Dream11 Super Smash. His third man actually up inside the 30-metre circle and looking to utilise a backward point on the boundary instead. Different from one-day cricket format where you often see third man, fine leg, back for the fast men. Just means if there is that outside edge where the batsmen have thrown their hands at it hard, often able to pick up 4.
Wide of the crease that time. Shoveled over mid-on, just a couple of bounces. So Wiggins is getting in on the act.
Looking to be aggressive down the ground this time. Wiggins struggled to create a strike rate early in his innings so far. Looking to take risks, has already looked to go to the lap. Now looking to go down the ground off the fast men. 2 boundaries to start the over from Michael Ray.
That's more than Michael Ray. Yeah, it's been quite a defensive bowling display so far from the Volts. It's not unusual for them to only have 1 over per bowler, but they've gone to cutters. They haven't really tested it out. We've had a couple of seam-up deliveries that actually have seamed and bounced a bit.
I think that ball there is pretty close to perfect to what you should be trying to bowl to Wiggins. Looks a very organised, technical player. Just when you live in and around that area, it looks like he really struggles to have a scoring option without having to take a large risk, without having to do something that could bring about his wicket. I just think that the Volts haven't had the opportunity to bowl to Wiggins enough, and when they haven't been able to sit in and around that length to keep him down there.
Well, part of it is, you look at his backlift and his grip, and he's very orthodox, and it goes back very straight, which means it's hard for him in that one that's more that middle stump line to play with freedom. It's a very closed face and very straight behind him. That's a swing and a miss.
He almost put his shoulder out, I think, swinging that hard. Wiggins. He's just got a little front foot press in his stance. Just looking to swipe that into the leg side. And the bounce on this occasion, just too much from Ray.
That is definitely strike 1. Definitely. Well, the question is, he's thinking Michael Ray, a bounce bowler. A lap shot, he hasn't played one for an over. In the air and taken. So the back of the length short, and they pick up a wicket. The perfect time for the Volts.
Much needed wicket for the Volts. Michael Ray's done a great job going for back-to-back boundaries to start the over. Follows it with 3 dots and then the wicket. Takes pace off, the ball just sits in the surface. Wiggins unable to control it. He departs for 16 off just the 13 balls. It's 5 overs gone, the Stags 48 for 1.
Great catch by Matt Kelly. Next to the crease for the Central Stags. Just a friendly reminder, ladies and gentlemen, to keep your eyes peeled in the crowd at all times for flying cricket balls. They can come in any direction.
Perfect time for the Otago Volts to pick up the first wicket. They needed it because the Stags were going along nicely, dominating this power play. 1 over left, and Mitch McClenaghan's been asked to bowl the tough 6th over, but it's a good time to do it because they've just picked up the wicket of Wiggins, and looking forward to seeing a non-striker at the moment. Will Young back in the side for the Stags, been on New Zealand duty. It'll be a wide. Wouldn't have played a lot really for the Stags with all the New Zealand A games too, Will Young, and I'm sure he'll enjoy coming back, playing with a bit of freedom too with the white ball.
He's a very good player, is Will Young. Add a lot to the Stags lineup. I think he'll just be keen to be playing some cricket again, as much as he would have loved being part of that Black Caps setup. On to Test #1 in the world. But I'm sure he's equally happy to get the bat back in hand, be out in the middle playing some cricket.
Yeah, there's nothing worse. Well, you want to be around the environment, but all that fielding, and you don't even get to enjoy getting the pads on. And he's probably then asked to go out and give throwdowns to the guys in the nets. One of the greatest things that could have happened for probably Luke Ronke as the batting coach, but also 12th and 13th man this year and last year, is Kane Williamson scoring runs, because if he's out in the middle scoring runs, he's not in the nets getting throwdowns. Another wide. They're just trying to stay away from that leg side.
Yeah, quite true. I think that's saved some shoulders, that's for sure. Talk about that fielding that Will Young's been doing. Tell you what, that work's been paying off, because that grab he came on and took at gully, one-handed diving away to his right, inches off the ground. It's pretty spectacular.
I was actually talking to Hines coach Jamie Watkins before the game, and he mentioned Will Young's recovery from shoulder surgery, and that catch was to his right and a sore shoulder, so that gave me confidence.
Did he have the same surgery, did he, Susie?
I actually don't know. It was the same surgeon, and James, the coach actually said Will might have a chat to me after the match, so I might pick his brain about his recovery, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting lots of throws from you when I come back.
Well, Susie, you might have to send in the highlights packages, because the team's going all right.
Thought you were going to say, Susie, you might need to pass the name of the surgeon on, how many throws I'll be given.
Yeah, I had a big week actually this week. I've had a pretty good excuse up until now to not throw a lot. I'm trying to make sure that I believe that need to be self-sufficient as cricketers, and actually you work in pairs. So why go out in the ground and do all your throwing loads and throwing out in the ground? Well, let's just do it in the nets to each other, and then to be a good coach, you've got to observe and actually be able to watch.
That old chestnut. This comes from the Bob Carter school.
I don't see sprint coaches sprinting alongside sprinters when they're doing stuff, do they? I don't see Shane Bond running in with the bowlers or Shane Jurgensen. They're back observing. By the time you put a helmet on now, you've got your glove, you've got the screen, it's just so hard to coach, so you're better off hopping up to the side and observing. Slabo again. Oh, and a mix-up, an opportunity hits. Oh, that was brilliant. Kelly, I think it was there. Yes, he just had to hit.
Outstanding piece of fielding. Diving away in the inner ring towards his left. Little slip from the batsman as well, a horrible feeling. Could he have had time to throw it to the keeper?
Well, he did, but the problem is he dove to his left, and then he probably couldn't see Will Young, maybe in the corner of his eye, the peripheral vision. This is a good over from McClenaghan, tying him up. They're looking for two, no. So it all happened so fast.
Yeah, I feel a bit mean even throwing out any criticism to that bit of brilliance. He would have backed himself after that to hit 1.5 stumps that he had available to him.
Yeah, when he dives to it, so the question is, does he actually have a chance to see Will Young? No, like, see where he is. Yeah, he had a pause, and maybe he had $1 each way, throwing it, and Renwick couldn't get there. It is a slower outfield here. It's been completely redone at University of Otago over in the winter. They completely ripped it up. Not dug it out, but it got completely covered in sand and the grass regrown. So the drainage is brilliant now. It's just taking a while maybe to get the speed back in the outfield. That's a nice shot. Good way to end the power play. 6 gone, 56 for 1.
McClenaghan trying to close out the over, try and get through unscathed. It had been a good over until that ball just missing short and wide, right into George Worker's wheelhouse.
A few lads here, and we did have a yarn to them during the Hines game. Going to call them the recycling centre. They're putting away tins like nobody's business. Nicholas, you having a good day on the back? What have you been yarning to your boys about?
Yeah, we're having a good day. The boys are talking about looking at more than cricket. And it's all about Mitch McClenaghan running in.
The Otago contingent depart the box, and I am joined by Rebecca Rolls, and you must have enjoyed that first 6 overs. Pretty explosive power play from the Stags.
What energy that, in particular, Worker opened up with. But Wiggins as well back in the side after a bit of a gap. He was keen to throw the bat at the ball, and as a result, very, very good power play, 56 for 1. And still, the outfield's a little slow. They probably robbed with a couple of runs, but I think by and large, some excellent stroke play. And Otago will be searching for something now, having won the toss and bowled.
Duffy back into the attack, and he is dispatched through the leg side. Hit hard by Will Young, hasn't missed a beat.
No, losing the wicket hasn't stymied the worm at all. You see this a little short probably from Duffy is the only slight mistake there. No mistake from the batsman, cracked it through mid-wicket for 4.
Good from Duffy there. Good comeback after the boundary. We'll head downstairs now and have a talk to Hamish Rutherford, who's kind enough to be on the mic. Happy with how things are going so far, Hamish?
Mixed emotions currently. Obviously it'll be great to get George, who's obviously started very nicely, but also on the comp is, I think, leading run scorer. So if we can get him now, then that slows the momentum going through this period. Oi.
Hear anything there, Hamish?
Absolutely nothing. One ear's blocked and I'm quite far away, so. You're closer to the stump mic than I am, I think.
Yeah, we heard nothing up here, I don't think. So this is the key partnership for you guys now?
Yeah, I think so. You know, obviously Will hasn't played a lot of cricket lately, so hopefully he's a fraction rusty, but like I said before, George is quite key in their batting order.
Pushed into the leg side, running hard. Easily home for 2. With a slightly shorter boundary out there as well, Hamish, is that something that you talk about much as a side?
We actually didn't talk about it. It's a good point. But I think, you know, all batsmen know, and most bowlers know as well, where the short edge is, and with the way the wind's going as well, it makes it even smaller. So it's quite important in this end that Jacob's bowling from, that we defend nicely.
The play in the miss there from George Wicket. Hamish, you're coming off some pretty good form yourself at Bay Oval. You'd be encouraged by the way these two have started as well?
These two, as in these batters?
Yeah, because for when you get the bat in your hand.
Oh yeah, no, it looks like a really good pitch. I think Duff said in the pre-match at the toss that Jaden's done a wonderful job. You know, the ground's just looking awesome. No rugby on in the winter, I think helps that, doesn't it?
Duffy able to close out over just a single down to long on.
Nice stuff.
7 overs gone, the Stags 64 for 1.
Nice. I got your kit, didn't I? Do that edge. Left hand.
7 overs gone here.
Nah, Mitch, go there.
Of Otago,
I'll go here.
Central Stags,
You go there,
64
you go there.
for the loss of 1 wicket. George Worker at the crease.
2 point, mate.
25 deliveries, assisted by Will Young. 6 off 4 deliveries.
Stags 64 for 1 after 7. First look at spin for the afternoon. Michael Rippon coming into the attack, and
Boys, you need to log on.
whilst you're just organising the field out there, Hamish, Michael Rippon's been a wonderful form for you guys this year.
Yeah, he's been bowling really nicely. I'm sure hopefully he can replicate what he's done, but in the last 2 games he hasn't actually gone for a boundary. So if he can do that out here today after the start that the Stags have got off to, that'll go huge for us winning the game.
Starts wide outside the off stump. Running hard and coming back for the second. Easily home once again. What is it that makes him so hard to get away, Hamish?
That is a very good question. I think he's obviously, left-arm Chinaman. There's not many around the country, let alone the world, so that's a good starting point. But I just think he's found a nice wee rhythm. Been bowling beautifully all season, and obviously that breeds a bit of confidence, and he started the comp nicely, so hopefully he can continue.
Hamish, you're consistently using 5 bowlers in the games. That means you're in a good rhythm as a bowling unit?
Yeah, I think so. Without being perfect, we're always searching for that perfect game, but they've been going nicely. All the guys, I think we added Razor today just as another option against this powerful CD lineup, just to I guess have another option up our sleeve, which looks like it might be a good move as the game's gone so far.
Here, Rap.
Do you talk at all about pass score or what you're looking to keep the Stags to?
No, I think the stats show that anything, I think a winning score is 200, and then chasing, the actual stats are 80% win rate chasing. So I think we look at that. Obviously it's a home ground, so we sort of know a bit about it. And actually, historically, this block's a very good wicket, this strip. So, yeah, it's been good games on it. So, I mean, with the start, with the wind, I don't know. Oh, anything, probably 190-ish is probably looking all right now.
I like this, Rap.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Hamish, for your insights. We'll come back and have a chat to you a little bit later on in the innings.
Cheers.
All happening out in the middle. Rippon prepared to throw the ball up wide.
Yeah, just did everyone, didn't it? Sort of York the batsman and the keeper. Rippon has one of the best economy rates so far, even after a couple of games, but you can sort of see why. He just keeps his pace really difficult to score off.
Oh my goodness, that's a fireball.
Good piece of fielding to finish the over off. 5 runs off Michael Rippon's first over. Stags 69 for 1. Michael Ray, the wicket taker so far. this afternoon. 8 overs gone, 69 on the board for the Stags. Good crowd building University Oval. It's pulled away into the leg side. He has an ability to take wickets, Michael Ray. He's got the ability to come into the attack and just make something happen.
Well, as Hamish Rutherford just explained, he's the 6th bowler added to what is normally a 5-pronged attack. So they recognise the strength of the CD batsmen and how they're going. And Michael Ray certainly brings something else to that.
Pushing hard for 2, ball just on the 30-metre circle. Wonderful placement from Will Young. Yeah, I was surprised to see so far the Volts in their 3 games before today. They'd only bowled 6 bowlers, and one of those was Josh Finney, and he'd just bowled the 1 over. So quite incredible in the T20 format to think you've got your 5 bowlers that you go to and you're prepared to keep going to. Not a lot of wiggle room if someone's having a bad day. And that is one impressive strike from Will Young. Hamish Rutherford was hoping he was a little bit rusty. Not the case.
No, he's certainly blown the cobwebs out of the throwdown arm here after being in the test setup. Michael Ray erring a little bit, not too much on length really, and Young's just got right under that and deposited it over into the playing fields here at University of Otago Oval. Very impressive shot.
Yeah, it's missed by much, Ray there. Initially on first look looked a little short, but that's a wonderful pickup from Young. Goes on the fuller side this time. Early calls of 2, but no chance down to that shorter boundary.
Yeah, forcing Ray to go a little bit fuller. May or may not have wanted to do that, but has to make a change after getting deposited over the boundary. And brings the left-hander onto strike after a nice tidy single. Always tricky as a captain, you'll know, Frankie, and thankfully there aren't that many left-handers in the women's competition, but it can really disrupt the rhythm of a fielding side.
Yeah, the constant chopping and changing. 2 different plans, line and lengths, often you're required to bowl as well, and it's hard on a bowler to settle into that rhythm. Just adds a few more Ks into the fielders' legs as well. If you're trying to make sure you've got your key fielders in the right positions, they can end up doing a lot of running to make sure you can achieve that. Follows worker into the hip, just tucks him up.
And also time on the clock when you're trying to get your overs through, as we see another single there, just to help us make the point. But you're right, Ray, I think he's bowled quite well. He's in his 2nd over now. It looks bad with 19, but he's been potentially targeted, I'm not sure, by these batsmen. He stood up well and managed to make an adjustment to get his wicket.
Important delivery here. Needs to close out the over. Already the 11 off it. Does well, goes to the Yorker, jammed out. Just the single to finish it off. 9 overs gone, 81 for 1.
9 overs gone here at the University of Otago Oval. Stags move on to 81 for 1. It's time now again to check in with
good
our
over
man, AJ.
for the Stags.
You're in the hot zone here.
Looking more comfortable against the pace of Ray. Trying to cash in, maybe a little ground needed to be made up after a good start from Rippon. Tidy start, probably conversations happening at the moment around how to target the spinner, how to make sure they can go back-to-back big overs in this situation.
And Michael Rippon has been bowling well too. When you've got 2 quite destructive batsmen, it can be quite intimidating, but as a spinner he stood up to that challenge. And I wonder if the pace-off might be an option here at the other end eventually, or in the next couple of overs.
Well clipped into the leg side. Yeah, they might be wary to go back to Anaru Kitchen. Left arm spinner. Might be hoping that they can pry out George Worker here, get 2 right-handers at the crease, then go to the left armour. but it also might be needed. Might be the percentage play to take pace off, make the batsman do the work. It's width again.
Great running, Lou.
Just seemed to have got the angles perfect for the spinner.
Absolutely. Not too much in it there for the batsman to cash in on. Having to settle for singles off rip-on, which is pretty impressive. Only 7 runs so far for him. And I think becomes a genuine attacking option once you start, if you can bog it down at the other end as well, because he does create some problems with some of his flight.
And that's what I think you'll start to see, is you need to start taking bigger risks to score against Ripon. Been hitting the ball nicely, but boundary fielders set well, only getting singles. And straight away, going to that sweep shot, yes, some risk with it, but it's brought about a change in Ripon, coming left arm round the wicket now. Just looking to angle it in. A chance out in the deep, but no, it's got the legs on it, and it is up onto the bank.
Yeah, just as we're building Ripon up, he gets deposited over the boundary for 6. That change in angle really suited Will Young here a little bit, straight into his swinging arc, and over it goes. No chance for the fielder whatsoever.
What he's done well there is just got himself outside leg stump. Has created some room to work with. Again gets outside the leg stump. Slays it through the offside, but well fielded. Cover boundary.
Yeah, Matt Bacon does some good work down there on the outfield. He does use the crease really well, Young, and I mean, no surprises, he's a class batsman, but to do it, have those really quick feet and make that decision really early is what's created those opportunities for those 2 balls for him.
Up and over the top, man coming round, but all he can do is watch it sail over the rope. Wonderful strike to finish the over, and with that, that brings up the half century for George Worker. 51 off just the 33 balls, and at the halfway stage, the Stags are 96 for 1.
You know you're in good form when you can just lean back and play it over extra cover for 6, and there's a fielder there and you don't even really care. You're like, I'll back myself to hit that.
Yeah, that's slightly into the breeze as well. He's backing his strengths, and when you're hitting the ball as clean as George Worker is at the moment, it's easy to go to that.
Back into the attack for the Otago Bolts. Properly, your centre in number 6, Anaru Kitchen.
Spin from both ends now. Kitchen back into the attack. This time outside of the power play, allowing him a little bit more breathing room. 5 fielders out on the boundary. Backward square, mid-wicket, long on, long off, cover. Starts well. Head out to his sweeper at cover. Running hard as Will Young. Comfortably back as well.
Yeah, I like this change in bowling from Duffy. Just forces CD to create some of the pace themselves, change the tempo a bit because they are running away with it to an extent. Maybe bring out a couple more risky shots. Anaru Kitchen, a really experienced operator.
That's a strike down the ground. Hats up near us as well. That is high and handsome from Will Young.
Well, he can't bowl anything, it seems. He is going to put that over the boundary, and if it's not him, it's Worker from the other end. Spectacular stroke making here while the ball gets hunted down behind us, as you say, Frankie. Yeah, again, right in the slot, probably in the step hit area, well and truly. He's not going to let that go by.
While we get the ball retrieval squad out looking for that one, just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen,
That shows the quality of the surface as well. Will Young, just the 16 balls at the crease. There's barely been one that's missed the middle of his bat. Looked in imperious form since he's come to the crease. Here we go, match ball back in hand. Been chased down from out the back. Bowler and wicketkeeper chatting between themselves. What do you think that chat's about? And you've just been deposited and the keeper comes down to have a talk to you?
I think it might be, something's got to change here. So either try a wider one, maybe a quick one down leg, even an arm ball, something like that, just to throw him off his stride and put some doubt in his head.
Instead, it goes back into the slot once again. One bounce four this time, dead straight from Will Young.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the plan. However, you've got to give some credit to Will Young here. Anadu Kitchen really has to come up with something special to knock him off his pedestal that he's on at the moment. Hit straight through the line, such a clean hitter of the ball. Difficult conditions for bowling in a T20 for a spinner.
The wicketkeeper's down there once again. Little pep talk for the bowler. It's maybe when you're setting up your leg side stumping opportunity. A bouncer instead. Love to see it.
I'm not too bothered by that. I think it's something good. It's change up. Keeper knew it was coming. He's got a helmet on, so no issues there. Just a quicker one. Probably might have liked it a little bit fuller or not. Is that one down on one knee? Swept over the square leg boundary for 6.
Really under pressure. Now is Kitchen. Will Young is into his stride quickly here. Gets down on one knee. Deposits it onto the bank. Fielder thought they were in the action for a little while there, but not to be. Second 6 of the Anaru Kitchen over. Tries to go wide on this occasion. Tries to get outside of that hitting zone. Unfortunately, too wide. Second wide of the over. Trying to find a way to get out of it here. That's well bowled. That's the one he's been striving for, trying to get it up in the block hole. Young unable to get under that one.
Yeah, that's what he's hunting for, isn't it? And you can't blame him for trying to change the pace up. Probably a little bit wrong first couple of times, but that's the little dart that's hard to get away. They want to produce a few more of.
Just the single off the over, but it is a huge one for the Stags. 22 runs off the Kitchen over. 11 gone, 118 for 1. Thought it could have gone one of two ways. Rebecca rolls the gamble to try and take pace off the ball, pick up another wicket. Instead, it's been a big over. Volt's really on the back foot now.
Often when you're going like a train and you're hitting pace, that's all you want. You want that diet completely and nothing else. And the spinners come on and it's really inconvenient. However, for these two, they've managed to adjust their game really well and just keep going.
And with the back-to-back big overs, go back to pace. Matt Bacon had a good season with the ball in hand so far. 7 wickets, an average of 14.42. So if you need a wicket, which the Volts definitely do at the moment, this is the man to go to. Need to try and break this partnership. Takes pace off to start. With just a single down to square leg, it's time to take a breath.
Yeah, it's smart bowling from Bacon, straight on, pace off, and you're right, he's had a couple of really good threefers in the game so far, and that's what the Volts need right here, right now, really, is a little mini collapse just to get them back on the straight and narrow in terms of pulling the potential target back. A good start back from Bacon.
That can sometimes be the danger, isn't it? You're sitting in the dugout watching two people in the middle, just whacking it round everywhere. All of a sudden, it's your turn to bat, and you get out there thinking it's going to be easy. It's a bit more challenging than it seems, and all of a sudden, that's when you can lose a couple of wickets in a row, the momentum can change. You end up falling short of that total.
Yeah, the old pad rash can sometimes be your undoing, and with Dane Cleaver and Josh Clarkson listed next to come in, they're both two very dynamic batsmen themselves who definitely want a piece of this.
It's been a good over so far. Just looks clear in his plans about where he's trying to get the batsman to hit. Slightly more defensive-minded at the moment, but I guess you kind of have to be. 22 off the over before you. Just need to try and chip away at that momentum. Try and pull it back one ball at a time. Dots in this situation are gold, but singles as well, so important. Goes to the knuckle ball, and that has been dispatched onto the bank. It had been a good over so far, but just gives the length that Worker was after.
Oh, this is sensational hitting, you're right. Again, just a bit short, straight through that swinging arc, and the spectator just ducked under it, just a turtle at the right moment.
To the cover sweeper. And that just shows the fine margins in T20 cricket. It had been a good over through the first three balls. You miss slightly, go to your variation, miss by a scratch, all of a sudden you get the ball thrown back from the bank. Try to work out how you can get through this over, how you can get out of it without any more damage. Minimise the boundary options. Now trying to close out the over. He does a good job of it, running hard between the wickets, pushing for two. Comfortably back, and the little ricochet off the stumps. Just the two off that last ball. 12 overs gone, the Stags 131 for 1.
Overs gone here at the University of Otago Oval. Stags move on to 131 for 1. George Worker at the crease, 60 off 37 deliveries. Will Young, 49 off 22 deliveries. Returning to the bowling crease for the Otago Volts, number 81, Mitch McClenaghan.
Fireworks here at University Oval. George Worker 60 off just the 37 balls, and Will Young back in the middle of a cricket field, 49 not out of 22. Wiggins the only wicket to fall so far, caught by Kelly off the bowling of Ray. With 12 overs gone, the Volts are steering down the barrel of a big score here. They've turned to their experienced man, Mitch McClenaghan. Takes pace off to start us over. Just the single once again.
You wonder if this is earlier than he may have come back in other circumstances. He did definitely bowl a bit later at Bay Oval, but then this is, you bring your T20 specialist in for these sorts of moments, don't you? He knows exactly what he wants. You can see him setting his plan up there. He will ring the changes well and truly, and these batsmen will have to keep working hard if they're going to maintain these strike rates.
Yeah, probably likely to only bowl one in this situation, save him for right at the end, but the Volts have gone to him now. They just need a little respite. Last few overs have been big overs, momentum all with the Stags. Don't see many of those. You definitely don't see many of those from players 49 not out off the 22 balls.
Yeah, wide hole, I guess we'd say there. Probably Will Young thought he might have been called a wide ball and got another go at it, but that's Mitch McClenaghan's experience. Knows exactly where to put it. He has it on a string. I'm not sure that Will Young will watch another one go past, though.
He will watch one go past, but that one outside the tram line. You can see the plan though. Wide Yorker, try and get out of that swing arc of Will Young. He's been particularly savage on anything that he can get down the ground or through the leg side. Goes out to cover for the single. And that brings up half century for Will Young. 50 runs, just the 24 deliveries. And it has been a sparkling innings.
Certainly has, and no test match habits lurking in Will Young's closet there. And George Worker, that'd be great to bat with George Worker, isn't it? He's on 61 off 38 if you're lining up a 50.
Goes to the short ball and well executed. A good height, getting it up, hard to control, up above the shoulder height.
It is another display of his many tools in his toolbox. And batsman could probably get a little bit of a surprise and either try and fetch it and pop it straight up in the air, or, as you say, he just goes for what is a single in the scorebook. Just maybe a slight adjustment in the field as cover coming round.
Looks to go down the ground. Has he got enough on it? No, he does not. He finds the fielder. Well held by Kitchen at long off.
That is why you bring your experienced bowler back. Just pushed a little bit wide. Will Young chased it and straight to Anaru Kitchen, who does a good job taking that catch. Will Young departs for 50, 135 for 2.
Great catch in the deep there by Anaru Kitchen, off the bowling of Mitchell McClenaghan.
Dane Cleaver comes to the middle for the Stags. Mitch McClenaghan getting the important breakthrough. And the Volts will be hoping that that'll stem the tide.
It's got to take the heat out of this trajectory, doesn't it?
It's worked into the leg side. Just the single off it to finish. A wonderful over from McClenaghan. Just the 5 runs off it and the big wicket of Will Young. The Stags 136 for 2.
Look at Will Young's 50 here. Some very impressive striking of the ball. And in between these boundaries, some really good energetic running between the wickets, which has just meant the pressure has remained on the whole time. But Anaru Kitchen came back to try and stem the tide and just got sent over the fence as well.
Back into the attack for the Otago Volts from the pavilion, number 19, Michael Rutherford.
And finally, Mitch McClenaghan pushes one a bit wider. Young couldn't help himself, and Anaru Kitchen happily accepts the catch.
Michael Rippon into the attack. When he went for 5 off his first over, then was hit for 2 sixes in his second. Had been one of the form bowlers. It just shows this game. The Volts have gone for 62 runs off 4 overs before that Mitch McClenaghan over. So it was much needed. Not only the wicket of Will Young, who looked in great touch, but also just to halt the momentum.
Yeah, absolutely, Craig. You've if anything, got to do that. And Mitch McClenaghan has done his job there. Ripon will come on and make it hard from the other end as well.
Dane Cleaver, he can hit the ball very clean if he gets in. The callers too, they've done this well today, but won't get there, hit it too hard. Well, Susie, I heard in the pre-match, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but you said around about 160 would be par. How are you feeling right now?
Nice roll on here, lads. One more,
We may be able to keep them under 200, but yeah, I think that was a bit light. Obviously, the Sparks bowled so well to restrict the Hinds to 100, but obviously they've cleared the rope a few more times than the Hinds did batting first.
Oh, yeah.
And what you need to say there is, yes, I still believe it's par, so these guys are going so well, they're above par. That's how well they're batting.
I'm happy to admit I was wrong.
Never do that, Susie. No, they are, but they've been playing nicely. What they've been able to do, they've made the vaults vary so much, and in some ways maybe, especially early on, the vaults could have been a wee bit more consistent, but I know that's not the way they play. Ripon is a real key to this bowling attack. There is, oh, how's that missed everything? Renwick was in no man's land as the keeper. Ray does well. How close is this to leg stump?
Yeah, well, this is one of those sliding doors moments that cricket throws up, isn't it? On any other day, that cannons into leg stump, but on this occasion misses everybody and everything, including the keeper, completely deceived as well. 4 byes.
It's tough on the keeper, Rebecca, isn't it? Because you see a batsman switch and you don't know what you're doing. Probably thought it was going to hit.
Yeah, you're already jumping up and down thinking it's hit the stumps. It is. You've got to bob each way sometimes.
Well, this shows the intent for Cleaver. Flat up. Yeah. And bowled! Bottom edge, onto the heel and back onto the stumps, but at the end of the day, it's out.
Well, this is a bit untidy, wasn't it? He set up for that, what would have been a fairly strong pull shot. It was the right shot to play, just didn't quite make the contact he wanted, and unfortunately bobbled out to hit the stumps. Dane Cleaver departs for 1. Stags 141 for 3.
Really important wicket there for the Volts, because you could see the intent from Cleaver. He was going to go hard, and he was not going to muck around, and if he gets going, this ground is not big enough for him. Ripon will probably believe he deserved that from the previous delivery. If you look at the score sheet, you could tell someone it drifted in, turned and hit off stump. It doesn't matter, it was bowled.
Yeah, well, Josh Clarkson, also a very, very good hitter of a cricket ball. So he will have designs on a similar innings to the one Worker's playing at the moment.
As I said, 62 of 4 overs for the Stags. Now, they've picked up 2 wickets for 10 runs in the last 2 overs. Beautifully bowled. That did angle in and turn away. Great over from Ripon. 141 for 3.
Fantastic over there by Michael Ripon. Time now to cut to our man AJ, who's got a fan club in the crowd.
Very important over from Ripon to back up the one from McClenaghan. And yes, you could say after these 2 overs, dominant display in the field, just about. But well, the Volts would say that for sure. I have a question for you two from Dunedin. As I was flying down, I saw an ad that said Dunedin, it's just like Bali except with wetsuits. I thought you might be able to explain.
I haven't heard that, but I totally agree. I said to Hayley Jensen this morning driving in that how she liking Dunedin, and she said it's a little bit cold, but I said if it was 10 degrees warmer, the whole country would move down here. The beaches are beautiful, it's just a little bit cold to go swimming without a wetsuit.
Finally, I don't have to be the only one defending the weather. And Susie is a genuine local. I'd admit today's been cold.
That was a genuine question from North Island.
Well, it's the Golden Beaches. I mean, you look at St Clair, St Kilda, the coastline.
I do feel the Volts, what they've done well in the last 2 overs in particular, has made the CD batters hit into the big side, McClenaghan and Rippon. So hopefully Ray can make them hit into that longer boundary on the offside.
It's a straighter line.
That's a good point, Susie, and no doubt the plan, and may have always been the plan, but maybe not well executed. But again, you've got to give some credit to Worker and Will Young, who came in and just took the game away, really.
Will Young was brave, wasn't he? He took on the boundary riders and he had the power. Went after Rippon, hit him for 2 sixes in his second over, and then just put all the pressure back on the Volts. Worker this time inside it. That's smart cricket. And a much-needed boundary at an important time.
Yeah, it looks like this ball strayed, but it wasn't actually that far off. Worker's just really some amazing footwork from him to just get inside it quickly, give himself every opportunity to make full face contact with the ball. Gone.
Yeah, I think that's the part of the premeditation, knowing that he's going to try and bowl quite straight. And Ray's normal length is back of a length. So he was going to maybe try and get underneath it. So again, bowlers are trying to stay one step ahead of batsmen, and batsmen trying to predict what the bowlers are doing. He goes again. That's the one he was waiting for. That is smart cricket by George Worker.
The ball before that, Worker stepped inside and it was fuller and he was able to get it in that gap. But like you said, Ray then pulled back his length and he was then able to pick it up and hit it over the short fine leg. So brilliant batting. Like you said, knowing Ray's probably going to go straight, but now he's accessing that short boundary behind him.
And part of that's your preparation. You actually go and scout the bowlers and have a look at the lengths they bowl. They can do that now. They can get all the statistics and they have team analysis people doing that work, and you can actually premeditate. Bouncer.
Good response from Ray, though. Probably could have hit that as well, the form he's in.
Well, he could have. He actually gave him even shorter length.
Is it a premeditated leave?
But you can do that and say Michael Ray is a guy who does bowl back of a length, and you can get the consistency. And what he's doing today, he's predicting what line he's going to bowl based on this big boundary to the leg side. So you put those two things together and you can come up with, this is the position I'm going to get in when the ball's bowled, and then I'll react. That's nicely bowled. Will be a wide. It might be, yes.
So it's slower as well, I think. Perhaps on their slow bouncer, but unfortunately, ultimately bounced too high. Oh, yes. Well over the batsman's head. And he'll have to bowl again, which is unfortunate because it would have been a good finish to the over for Michael Ray.
So momentum back a bit with the Stags, 14 off the over, 155 for 3.
5 overs to go here.
5 overs to go. George Worker surely his sights set on 3 figures, perhaps.
Just a reminder to keep your eyes peeled.
McClenaghan's going to come back for 1.
Worker will be really keen to kick on from memory. He's scored a couple of 70s at Pukakura Park, so maybe today is the day for that triple figure score.
Yeah, we've certainly earned the right, hasn't he? Yeah, George Worker, I think he was top of the run chart after a couple of games, as you said, a couple of good 70s at Pukakura Park. But today on slightly longer boundaries, perhaps he's really carrying on this good form.
Big over this. Rippon 1 for 23 off his 3 overs. One of those overs went for 16. Straight down the ground, aim for the side screen and hit it. Great start for Worker.
Straight into the 80s with this shot. no problems for him. I agree, Ripon has been a good bowler so far, but that one really quite easy for Worker to deposit over the boundary.
Well, he's trying to again cut off the small boundary. This time Worker on the leg side. He's aimed for the gap at the mid-wicket.
Unfortunately for the Volts so far, they've had to deal with a right-hand, left-hand combination the entire game, so they'd be very keen to get Worker out in the next couple of overs, otherwise it's going to be a long day defending both sides of the wicket.
And what's worked well for the Stags is they lost those 2 wickets, but George Worker's been able to face 7 of the last 9 deliveries. So that's why they've been able to grab momentum back. Whereas the Volts would have been trying to get Clarkson and trying to get a few dots on him.
Yeah, different role for Clarkson today. Feed the strike, support from the other end and not lose his wicket.
Fouled, Rep.
And it's a little bit now maybe that the thought is, well, we've taken the 6 off the first ball, pick up 1 and each ball for the rest of the over, and they'll do that. Probably the dangerous bowler, the most form bowler for the Volts.
Yeah, he is. Matt Bacon's been good as well. He's probably got another one to come, I think. But Ripon's been impressive today.
Oh, he's hit that hard. Gee, where's Michael Rippon? Go and pick your hand up. It might be stuck to the ball.
Yeah, this was hit back at a massive rate of knots. Ripon not phased. He's brave.
I don't know as a batsman I've ever asked a bowler and you hit it back, are you okay?
Different times now, Craig.
Didn't hit it hard enough.
Hit it too straight. Well, they are on for a good total.
Down, boy, down.
It's a good shot in the gap. So they'll end another good over of batting by the Stags. 167 for 3.
167 for 3. Our man AJ is back in the crowd.
Yeah, the boys are on. All right. 2021, what a year, and got a little old mate here. Saw him in the semi-final last year. He's back again. You got the glasses on, the dark glasses, because you walked past your boss. That was right. You're meant to be on the clock.
Yeah, bugger really, isn't it? Yeah, sorry, mate. We'll talk on Monday about the situation.
Yeah, one of those on Mondays. And what are the boys going to have to chase today? It's going to be over 200, surely.
Experienced Mitch McClenaghan will bowl 17, 4 overs left. They are certainly on for plus 200. Stags, Jacob Duffy you'd expect will bowl 2.
They're on one. Love to bend it.
We'll head out to the middle in a minute to catch up with Hamish Rutherford and get his feel on the situation. That's nicely bowled. Well, let's head out. Hamish, 168, 3 down, 4 overs to go. How are you feeling?
Not too bad, actually. I think, you know, 190, 200 was definitely going to be par. So, I mean, if we can restrict them under 200, I think we've done quite a good job. All things considering, as you said, 3 down. I think, yeah, that's probably how we're tracking, I guess.
Slapped beautifully into the gap. That's placement as well from George Worker. Well, you really need to get him out, don't you, Hamish, if you're going to keep it around that 200 mark?
Yes, you're very right, Craig. It would be nice to have him. But yeah, we'll see how things go. Like I said, 200. you know, 210. It's still reachable here. Yeah, it obviously looks like it's a very good track. So a short edge, and you know, anything's possible.
So working out into the 90s, 91 of 52 deliveries. This time he goes flat. And I think it just landed in front.
I need to check that,
Well, maybe
Craig.
not. Yeah, I mean, I've only got the high angle and, you know.
Surely you checked that. It looked like it bounced.
I think it did.
4 bifters, isn't it?
Did it hit the hoardings on the full? Maybe it did, because that's why it bounced back. Have a look at the replay. Hamish Rutherford's listening, and... Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think that might have bounced.
Hang on.
Carry on, he's on 97. That's leg buys.
That last ball bounced, Derek. Let's have a wee change off here. That last ball bounced into the hoardings. Game of margins.
Hamish, as you say, these two are going well, but it looks like a pitch, as you're watching as a batsman, there's a lot of runs in there, so you should still have some confidence.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. It looks like it's coming on nicely, and with the way the wind is and the short edges, it should be chaseable, hopefully. Ooh.
From a batting point of view, Hamish, do you look at the both sides of the park, or are you just a guy that reacts?
I try and react, Craig, but it's not quite happening like that at the minute. I'm going all guns blazing, but yeah, I mean, you try your hardest not to look at the short side, but you know, batters are quite simple, aren't we? So we, you know, tend to get excited by it, and then when the wind's going that way as well, even more so.
I thought you used to say the bowlers are very simple.
Well, no, I'm probably simple.
Going long on. 13 off that over, 17 gone, 180 for 3.
Nice, Mitch.
Well, Hamish, we'll leave you to it. All the best with the bat.
Cheers, Craig.
I hope we haven't got ourselves in trouble with that conversation with them when it hit the hoardings. I mean, I wonder what happens in that situation. I think umpires are in a position they can overrule it if they see. It was a tough one. Normally, if it bounces back like it did, it would be on the full.
Back into the attack for the Otago Bolts, captain Jacob Duffy.
I'd hate for us to get in trouble for influence the conversation on the field. Wouldn't be the first time.
Let's just hope there's not 2 runs in the result.
I just hope George Worker doesn't get 101. Or 100. And then they say -2. So Jacob Duffy. Right, so George Worker, 97. We're on strike. He's actually on 98. So 89 was his highest score before today. So this is George Worker's highest score. Can he get that maiden 100? Jacob Duffy around the wicket. Full. It's hit hard. It's hit in the gap. They're going to run. And is he going to come back as he's taken on the arm and he dives and he gets there? Outstanding effort by George Worker. Wait a minute. Hold the phone. Pull it back. He's run one short. He didn't get all the way. Oh, pull it back. He's on 99.
Oh, the drama. Who'd be that
Could be
umpire?
97, we'll never know.
Well, that's right. What's he on? Take a pick.
One short.
I think he's on 99. Right, 99, George Worker. This time he gets it, just pumps it into the offside. He runs one, he'll stay down the non-striker's end. McClenaghan's over, but it's a wonderful 100, a maiden 100 for George Worker, and the Super Smash Dream 11. And the smiles there.
What an amazing innings by George Worker. he's just never stopped from the first ball. He's just kept going. An amazing strike rate, nearing 200. Susie Bates, you must be encouraged by a shoulder recovery here.
As I said earlier, Worker with 2 really quick 70s at Pukakura Park, and he's probably realised he's been in positions to get to that triple figure, so it's nice to see him kick on. Big job here for the Volts to restrict Worker and the other batter as much as they can to keep them to a score they can chase down.
Was there a bit of a glove? Yes, it's helped on its way. Did that go all the way? I think that one might have. No, one bounce.
Hamish Rutherford signalling a 4 from inner circle. Look at this, again, really early footwork, gets right under it, uses the depth of his crease, and just 6 all the way.
No, I think that one did land, landed inside that one. Gee whiz. Let's all go here. University of Otago Oval, smart batting. Full hit down the ground. How's the timing? Oh, good bit of fielding. Excellent bit of fielding. Nick Kelly. And I think that's the end of an over. Yes, it is, 187 for 3. That'll mean a lot to George Worker, hugely experienced. Played so much for the Stags, but to get his maiden T20 100 in the Dream11 Super Smash, real key contributor to the Stags' performance over many, many years. Right, hammers down, 189 for 3, 2 overs left. They'll be looking at 225. Actually played the first ever Super Smash game here. I think it was the first one ever played. We batted first. We got 215. Chris Gaffney, the umpire, got 100. And then Ross Taylor come out and hit the ball into the quarry to the left of where we're commentating. Oh, bang, that's nearly there. That is out of the ground. It's over the goalpost.
Yep, 3 points conversion. Just about into the hedge. The strike. Stroke making of George Worker continues. Matt Bacon, welcome to the crease. Bowl it in my arc, and that's where you'll go straight back over your head and over our combox.
And there's the 50-run partnership for George Worker and
oh, this is looking dangerous. This is looking dangerous for the Volts. Matt Bacon, pressure on him.
50-run partnership up also. Clarkson's contributed 12. Good support role.
Short, underneath it. How's the timing? Man under it. Not going to get far enough. McClenaghan takes the catch. And the excellent innings from George Worker comes to an end.
We just felt when he hit it, didn't you? Didn't quite get all of it. It wasn't sort of what we got used to seeing today, but well bowled Bacon. Yeah, just not quite, or almost too far under it, and hit it up too high instead of getting the distance. McClenaghan makes no mistake. George Worker departs for an amazing 106. Stags at 195 for 4.
106 off 58 deliveries. Striking it at 182.8. 6 fours and 8 sixes.
Special feeling for George Worker. 100 beside his name. He gets a chance to take the pads off for a couple of overs. And then he has to get the brain into action. Start thinking about his bowling changes. The bad hitter coming to the crease too, Dougie Bracewell, get the non-strikers in. Bacon there, shorter than the slow ball, so making him hit to the bigger boundary. Again, slow ball.
slower and a bit wider there from Bacon. Just meant couldn't quite get under it or fetch it around far enough to put it over the boundary, which is what he would have been trying to do. Josh Clarkson looks to take on that accelerated role now with departure of Worker. As you say, Craig, Doug Bracewell, no mug with the bat either. He can certainly hit it a long way.
Finally, 2 right-handers at the crease too, and they've got that short boundary. I'm sure they're eyeing up.
Or you just go over extra cover for, is that 6? I'm not going to call it. Let's look at the umpire.
We'll let them do their job. So, either way, in a great stroke by Doug Bracewell. Just put the foot down the pitch, swing. That simple.
Toblerone. Looked like it just bounced before and it skipped it up and over. Oh, no, maybe not. Nah, that's 4. A slow ball. It was a nice shot first up from Dougie Bracewell. 200 is up.
Perhaps the advertising Toblerone, as we've come to call them, aren't quite far enough out at University Oval.
Well, they're not for the bowlers, are they? Well and truly not. Maybe you should get a bit of design, maybe a square. This time, don't even worry about them now. Worry about the hedge. That is another wonderful shot, this time from Clarkson.
Gave a little bit of width there, and maybe that's Bacon fearing the shorter boundary and trying to get them to hit on the offside, but they're too strong over long off as well. So tough end to bowl from, and hopefully Jacob Duffy can finish strong from the other end.
We're into the final
207 for 4.
At University Oval. Jacob Duffy to bowl the final over for the Bolts. The Stags 207 for 4.
That is lovely batting. It just shows while we have innovation in this game and players can access behind the keeper over third man finally, just standing there and delivering is just as effective and actually looks simpler. The experienced Jacob Duffy, none for 28 of his 3 overs, will bowl the final over. It's a slow ball.
Yeah, nice change up by Duffy there. Bracewell had set himself to crack that, I think, as well, but can only just pull it into mid-wicket for a single. Bring Clarkson on strike.
As captain here, Duffy just has to have the mindset that every run counts. It's easy once a team gets past 200 to sort of let go a little bit, but every run has to count at the end of this innings to make it easier for his batters.
Wow, that's 6 more to that. That has gone onto the bank and dropped.
Well, this was a full toss, which probably wasn't in the plan. I think you're right, Susie. Every run does count. Cruisy spectator there.
Well, he's wearing
a
Green Island rugby jersey, so it doesn't surprise me that he's dropped it.
Is that near Ranfurly?
I can actually name the man, but I won't. All I'll say is it's nice to see him here. Thick outside edge. Get one. They're going to take on the arm. If it's a good one, he's going to be in trouble. No.
Yeah, Another Kitchen couldn't quite hurl it in quickly enough there to prevent the second run. As you say, 2 right-handers, you should be making it easier, but there's still some headaches for Jacob Duffy.
We've talked a lot about the shorter side square, but straight is where they've cashed in a lot, hitting nice and straight, and it's not a big boundary, so it doesn't matter what end when you're hitting straight here at Uni Oval.
Yeah, that's a good point, because often like Eden Park, you just go square both sides, but because we've got the one smaller side, it does make it tougher. The margin for error is so small. Around the wicket and a slow ball cutter. He's gone over mid-off. That's a heck of a shot. That's a wonderful shot. That's a fly ball.
What's happened there on the bank? It's a little scrum. He's going to smack it back. Good serve. Well done there, that man in the brown shirt. But what a shot. That came out of the back of the hand. Duffy's on his backside. The ball is up on the bank. The kids have lost their bearings a little bit there, but not the slushy, which is good news.
I think I said 250 was par earlier.
Nice save. Nice. Ball round the wicket. That's where he's aiming, Jacob Duffy. Full and straight and knocked 2 of the stumps out of the ground.
Well, should be pleased to see that, but Jacob Duffy just marching back to the top of his mark. Obviously very frustrated, but really good delivery here. That's exactly where you want it in the 20th over of a T20 match. Clarkson looks to innovate, but has no luck. He goes for 33, well made 33, 222 for 5.
Well, he was 13 off 12. So that just shows he put the hammer down when George Worker got out. It's been a really balanced batting performance from the Stags. Always helps when your opener gets 100.
You'll take that, but you're right, the momentum just has not dipped one little bit. There was a couple of overs there with, I think, 2 wickets and 2 overs, but really in the impact of the match hasn't been too bad.
Inside edge, and that'll be the end of the over, the end of the innings. And the Stags will run off very, very pleased after being asked to the bat. They've got through to 223 for 5. Jacob Duffy, captain for the Volts, will be looking at his team going, oh, well, above par, but they're used to it here. They're used to big chases. This is going to be a very big one. The reason is on the back of an excellent batting performance. George Worker, 106 off 58 balls, well supported by Will Young, who picked up 50 off just 25 deliveries, and then Clarkson and Bracewell did what they needed to at the end. It's got them through to that imposing total of 223. The bowlers, Otago Volts used 6. Open up with Kitchen, didn't work today. 34 runs. McClenaghan 1 for 31. And Rippon, as always, 1 for 35 is very good. But let's head down to the edge of the boundary with the man of the moment, George Worker, who is with Frankie Mackay.
It is the man of the moment indeed, Craig. George Worker, what a day for you.
Yeah, thank you. Managed to get a few out of the middle, and it was nice, but it's a beautiful wicket out there, so yeah, we'll have to make sure we go out there and bowl well, but no, pretty happy. Also, full credit to Youngie, who came out and played a beautiful knock. He sort of kept the momentum going after a pretty good start, and yeah, his innings was outstanding, and then followed by Clarkie there at the end, so yeah, it was a good contribution by all.
Look, and once you've got going at Pookie Park, you had two games in the 70s, was it a definite push to get on and get 100 today?
Oh, I don't know if you can really think about it like that in T20, well, at all, but especially T20 where you sort of have to carry on going and keep that run rate. As I said, it's a good wicket, so we knew we had to just carry on and yeah, managed to find the rope, which was nice.
And did you talk much about the smaller side of the ground and looking to target that, or is it purely just see ball, hit ball?
A little bit, but it was nice that we had that left-hand, right-hand combination going throughout the innings, and they definitely tried to bowl to the bigger boundary, so it was definitely a factor, yeah.
And I guess the million-dollar question, is it enough on such a good surface?
I hope so. We'll have to bowl well, but yeah, I hope so.
Well, wonderful. It's been a wonderful innings and pleasure to watch as well, George.
Thank you. Cheers, Frankie.
It certainly has been. And this was first ball of the match. And that was the tone set. They tried to open with spin, the Volts. And George Worker said no. He played all around the ground. And he said it was a very good surface, so they had to keep going. They need a good total. And on the back of his maiden T20 100, they have been able to do it. He had innovation, but also just classical batting. Smart batting, he was hitting the gaps. And richly deserved what has been 100. Will it be a match-winning one? We're going to find out, because after the break, the Otago Volts are going to come back and they're going to have to chase 224 to win in their 20 overs. Lucky we've got a good crowd in because they've been throwing lots of balls back in the Central District's innings after being asked to bat first by Jacob Duffy. They've done brilliantly. They've got through to 223 for 5 on the back of George Worker, their captain, his maiden Dream11 Super Smash 100 off just 57 balls. He hit the next one for 6. It'll be 56 balls actually. Excellent contributions from Will Young and also Clarkson. Otago Volts opened up with spin, and this was the first ball of the match. Down the ground, well, out of the ground from George Worker. Spin didn't work at the start from Kitchen. It did show it was a very good pitch. There was an opportunity early. It was put down. Mitch McFinnigan wasn't impressed. That was from Wiggins. He was taken, caught by Kelly. So that was the first wicket. And then George Worker, along with Will Young, back in the coloured clothing after test match duty, put on a very good partnership, dominant partnership. George Worker brought up his 50. Will Young decided that the boundary was there to be hit over. Took on Kitchen. He's a clean striker of the ball. Very good in red ball, we know that, but he's shown he's switched quickly to the white ball in this partnership. If they go on to win this match, the Stags, I'll put it down to that. A couple of quick wickets. It was a good 2-over period for the Volts, but then George Worker said, I'm going to take this away from you, and he was really proactive. He went after Ray. He went after Rippon, who was one of the best for the Otago Volts. McFinnigan bowled well. There's a bit of confusion whether that went to 6 or 4, and then in the end Worker brought up his 100. He also ran one short, which had him on 99. The innings came to an end. He couldn't quite clear the leg side boundary, but he had done the damage, had George Worker. Now the chase. 224 needed. Hamish Rutherford, we spoke to him on the microphone. He said 200's par, no problem. They have already this year scored 219 in the first game against the Aces in Molyneux Park in Alexandra, so they can go hard. We know they got power.
And opening the bowling for the Central Stags.
With him, Neil Broom. A lot relies on these two to get them off to a flyer. Not easy though. Quality bowling attack led by Doug Bracewell, who did a good job at the end of the innings with the bat. Good to see him back, fully fit. Be interested to see if he gets any swing. Here we go, the chase underway. 224 needed. And a little bit of swing.
He'll be encouraged by that. Just a hint of shape back into the left-hander. Very important cog in the Stags lineup. Saw a little bit of late lower order hitting at his first half century this season as well with the bat. It's with the ball where he's most known for. Just the 2 wickets this season, however, so he'd quite like a bag today.
That's nice bowling. That's really nice bowling. Hamish Rutherford's not impressed. Doug Bracewell thinks that's funny.
Yeah, Rutherford finds that a little bit less enjoyable than Bracewell did.
Oh, if he had stayed in line of the stumps, it would have been down leg, he would have picked it up. Underway, Hamish Rutherford. Good length from Dougie Bracewell.
Yeah, very. Makes it hard for Rutherford to get going. A strike rate of 177 in this competition, so once he gets in, he is destructive. Just got the ability to stay leg side of the ball as well. It means he can open up both sides of the ground. But just with the ball just shaping back into him like that before he's underway, Just makes it tough. Makes it tough for him to get started.
Neil Broom, he's so powerful when he stands still, but he also this year shown a liking to charging, creating momentum. Underway. The timing not perfect, but should be good enough. I haven't picked one right today, and I still haven't got one right. George Worker not wanting to throw.
The timing wasn't perfect, as you said, just able to muscle it through that gap. However, good chase from George Worker. Spent the majority of the time first innings out in the middle, just electing to save his throwing arm as well. Save it for when it's needed.
Oh, wow. Wow, just leg side of that. And the timing, that is just a wonderful cricket shot.
He did say it's hard not to look at that short boundary, but he set himself on the leg side and able to access the offside for him, and has easily cleared the rope. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be trying to aim for that short boundary again, but I'm also sure he'll be trying to just react to what the bowler bowls.
Haven't seen a short one yet from Doug Bracewell. There we go, and it's pulled, man back, but he's behind square. So an excellent end, 6 and a 4, first over gone, 14 without loss.
Great into the first over there for the Otago Bolts.
He's done well to control that, just whipping the hands through the ball. That's it, a mile in front of square. Onto it early, a big over. Just what the Volts needed to get this chase started.
Central Stags from the pavilion end, number 13, Blair Tickner.
It was a little bit like I think he was ready for that short one from Doug Bracewell. Blair Tickner, the bounce bowler. I believe it's his 50th Dream11 Super Smash game today. I'm reading Susie Bates' notebook when I say that. She's done that preparation. Well done, Susie. You look to hit the pitch hard, like that.
First game nerves, so I did as much preparation as I could and came across that stat, so I'm glad you brought it up because I'd forgotten about it.
You don't leave your notebook open, otherwise I'll steal all of them.
I only got one arm, I can't close it.
Yeah, the key, Tickner again, when we talk about preparation and doing your scouting, how often does he actually bowl deliveries that can hit the stumps? He's a kind of bowler, I think, from a batting point of view, you don't fight his pace and bounce, you use his pace and bounce. He wants you to try and hit him down the ground. Big tall action. That was a bit of a mow-off, wasn't it, between the two of them? Literally the way Hamish Rutherford played that shot. Pulled that on the leg side and man back.
What's hugely impressive about Tickner is his ability to take wickets. So far, 69 wickets in his career, an average of 18 and a strike rate of 12.69. Phenomenal record in this format.
Did you get that from Susie's book, or is that in your one? There are, wow, the reverse ramp. Wow, it's gone for 6. I know it's a short boundary, but gee whiz, this is skill from Broom.
Doesn't matter how many wickets you've taken before in this format, you will come under some punishment at some form of time. And it's just outrageous batting. It's one way to utilise the short boundary.
He might get one at his head this delivery.
Wow, that is so tough to play. Will it bounce? Slow ball down leg. That is so tough to play. To look to ramp it and then change the angle of the bat. And you're really, playing with a third of the blade, if you're lucky.
The third ball you've faced against a guy bowling best part of 140k down breeze. Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Nice slow ball again from Tickner. Yeah, and I think again, that was planned from Neil Broom because he knows he doesn't bowl that full. But what's been impressive this over from Tickner, he's actually bowled a lot fuller. So again, maybe he's predicting what he thinks the batsmen are going to do. 3 slow balls so far in this over.
That ability to just try and keep ahead of the game. Made his name running in, bowling bounces, bowling short. Really worked on his versatility.
10 off the over. Good start for the Volts. 23 without loss.
It's time to push play on New Zealand cricket. All of the black
You guys are both captains in a situation like this. You pick your bowler to bowl, it might be Dougie Braswell, but as a captain, are you thinking, what is the batter going to do? And do I reply to that or set the field, or is it what you want your bowler to do?
For me, the danger is that you focus too much on what the batter's trying to do instead of focusing on bowling your best ball on this wicket to these boundaries. And with a score like this, and when you've seen other bowlers get tonked around the park, it is really easy to start predicting what the batters are going to do, and then you lose sight of just bowling your best ball.
Joey Field, sorry. Been impressive so far. We run in. Tall young man. Again, has good variations. Been asked to bowl at Pukekura Park, which is not easy. This time it is a variation straight up in the air. George Worker going back, and he couldn't get there. And he's just shoveled it on for 4.
That's the benefit of hitting with the breeze. Neil Broom gets a bit of luck there. Field starts with the knuckleball. Worker has to backtrack, looking over his right shoulder, gets 2 hands to it, just able to palm it over. A couple of bounces for 4, would have been an outstanding catch. If anyone was going to pull it off today, it'd be George Worker.
Out this time, didn't cost him anything. And the young man Field strikes.
Very impressive start from Field. Goes pace on, delivery on this occasion into the wicket. Broom just looking to shovel it into the leg side. Only goes as far as Will Young. A bright and breezy 15 from Neil Broom. Volts 28 for 1.
Off 7 deliveries. Next to the crease for the Otago Volts, number 36, Lou Johnson.
Lou Johnson batting at number 3 for the Volts. Another youngster up against another youngster in Field who picked up the big wicket of Neil Broom. Good pace and bounce. It's a wide, but it doesn't matter because he's picked up a player that's so important for the Otago Volts, Neil Broom.
There's a lot to like about young Joey Field. Got the ability to swing the ball, holds a decent pace, got a good bouncer, prepared to go to the knuckleball early in his spell.
Lou Johnson not going against the Knights to a certain extent, 20-odd. But the Dream11 game changer in the first game against the Aces. Picked up 72 from memory, 7 sixes. Clean strike of the ball. He does take a few balls to get in. Hamish Rutherford hasn't had a lot of the strike in the last over and a half. Well, one of the good things about chasing 224 as a target, you don't think, right, we'll just have to go a period where we'll just collect. You know you've got one way of playing. You've got to commit to it.
Yeah, just the ability to have a nice clear mind. Start with your options for 6 and work your way back down the numbers. Need to be scoring off as many balls as possible. Dot balls and a big chase. A real killer. Really suck the momentum out of the innings as well. Boundaries is really what you're after.
Oh, how's that missed? Gee, was they going to run? He's fast. He's going to have to be.
Just missed the stumps and a wee bobble from the wicketkeeper. The chance really was at the far end. Joey Field collecting at mid-pitch. Don't think it was going to go on and hit, but it looked to be the non-striker's end where the chance was going to be.
Excellent over. Successful one. 31 for 1.
Three overs down here. The Bolts move on to 31 for the loss of 1 wicket. Next Thursday, we are back here at the University of
When you look at the scorecard, normally what, round about you'd aim for a boundary and over, 20 boundaries, and on the ground like this, maybe 10 sixes. It's about 140.
10 a.m. with the men following them at 3 p.m. Be sure not
So a lot more of those are going to be singles. A man who did clear the boundary, and it's good to see him in some coloured clothing. Will Young, how you going, Will?
Not too bad, thanks. How are you?
How you enjoy being in the coloured clothing facing the white ball?
It's the first white ball game I've played in ages, so it's had a lot of fun. Smack it around, and yeah, short and sharp in the field, 20 overs.
Yeah, that'll be the fun part, just the 20 overs, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He's going to have to chase that. We'll hear some heavy breathing. I think it's going to pull up just inside the boundary. Worker will flick it up.
Beautiful tax, bold tax.
So, Will, was it nice just to have a bit of freedom to not worry about leaving, and I suppose that technical side of the game, just to go out and see the ball and hit the ball?
See the ball, hit the ball. On a ground like this, it's sort of like the wind and the short boundaries come into play. So I suppose it's less technical, more tactical back over. Sorry for the heavy breathing.
Tick now into a second over. I'd say, well, every time you get over 220 in a T20, you'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, Stags are making a bit of a habit of it at the moment. There was 2 games in New Plymouth, they got 220. And obviously very happy to get 220 today. When I was batting with George, we sort of thought 190 at least. Especially after when we got the start we did, going at 10s, we thought that on this surface, sort of 190, 200 plus, and then obviously Clarkey smashed it at the end, a few little cameos, so we got to that 220 mark.
Oh, good pace and bounce from Ticknap. It would help too, and one of the advantages, I suppose, when you come to a ground like Uni Oval and a smaller side, having played at Pukakura Park, your bowlers are used to defending smaller boundaries, that they've actually got their game plans in place.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, Otago over the last couple of years have definitely been a strong tactical side. They certainly know their plans and how to block off one side of the field, and they did that really well at times.
And always nice to get rid of Neil Broom early. He's a dangerous man.
He certainly is. Yeah, you definitely need to take wickets in this top 6. But with the Volts, you know, they're keeping up with the rate. They're sticking at about 10s and over. The wickets become less relevant. I think we've got to try build some pressure and get that run rate climbing up above 12s, and then hopefully the wickets will sort of tumble towards the end.
We need you, Will, to catch up with Susie Bates at the end of this game too, to talk about shoulder surgery and recovery.
Yeah, I have heard that she's had shoulder surgery.
This time, hit on the leg side, 2 men back.
Same surgeon, I think, Will, so I might just ask you a few questions after the game if you're free.
Happy to talk labrums and shoulders anytime. But yeah, wish you all the best, Susie. It's a long, painful sort of process. You certainly got to be patient.
Yeah, well, I saw you take that diving catch for the Black Caps, and that made me pretty happy that you're still diving around in the field confidently.
Yeah, you can dive around on it. It's getting the ball back in from the boundary or something.
I'm too old for the boundary.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, Will. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, guys.
End of the over, 37 for 1.
187 required for victory here. Time now to turn to our man AJ, who's in the crowd.
Yeah, that's right. I've added another layer to the system, even with the sloppy rig.
I didn't like that, a couple of words you used, Susie, long and painful. I saw your face drop a little bit too.
It's funny, you seem to talk to a lot of cricketers that have had shoulder issues, and no one's that positive. And before you go into surgery, you're looking for some positivity, and you seem to just get how sore it is, you're not going to sleep, but I've been pretty fortunate, I think, and so far so good, but I think once I get out of the sling and back into skills, that's going to test me a little bit.
Up in the air, just wide of mid off. Good timing there by Lou Johnson.
Is that the kick-start to his innings that he needed? Bit of a struggle to start with, standing deep in his crease, and the ability to stand up on the ball, punch hard down the ground. Quality piece of timing.
One of the strengths for the Volts is they play with a no fear attitude, but they normally play with the extra batsman. Dale Phillips, he won the game up in the mount, he was there at the end. Can often bat number 8, whereas today they went in with the extra bowler. So a little bit more responsibility needed on someone in that top 6.
It was an interesting logic, really, to suggest that with the firepower in the Stags side and a smaller ground that they wanted the extra bowler, and I would have thought that's the perfect time to stack your batting. Just back yourself to chase down whatever's scored.
Up and over. That's nice timing by Johnson, no one back there. So 2 boundaries and 3 balls.
Good striking again. Goes to the knuckle. Just the width on offer, able to get that up and over point. No protection out in that part of the ground. It's another interesting point because the Volts have only bowled 6 bowlers this season. One of them, Josh Finney, only bowled the 1 over. So been very stuck on those 5.
It's over again. That's a lovely shot. Run away. So Lou Johnson's putting the foot down and showing the fast hands that he has through that offside.
Just the ability to get under the ball, stand up on it, punch, extend the hands through it. With that offside field up, he knows as soon as he can get it up and over those fielders, and he'll have the power, pace on the ball for it to go all the way.
Change of field, they've got a bam back at point. And that is close. That is really close. Is it hitting down leg? Yes. Oh, this will be worth a second look.
Joe Field going to the pace-off delivery. Once again, the knuckle, the favoured knuckle, just wobbling in nice and straight. Hit on the front toe and just sliding down that leg side. An outstanding delivery from the young man.
I think that's a good decision. I just think it started to curve in. Would have snuck down missing leg stump. This time, mid off. 3 boundaries off the over, 12 gone, 12 off it, 5 gone, 49 for 1.
That is 5 overs completed here. Hamish Rutherford at the crease, 16 off 11 deliveries. Lou Johnson joins him, 15 off 12 deliveries.
Always a tough over to bowl, the 6-1, the last one of the power play. Especially when the batting side's got momentum. That's why you go to your experienced bowlers, Dougie Bracewell.
This is a bit of the Stags' blueprint here. Often that 6th over, they have identified Doug Bracewell as the man. He's the one to bowl it. Regardless of how his first over of the match goes, they go to him for this 6th over.
Well, it's a good start for the Volts.
Outstanding start for the Volts. Such a quality striker over a cricket ball, Hamish Rutherford. Doesn't even have to be that wide for him to be able to get that through point area. It's just the length that's offered, ability to stay leg side of it, just crunch it through that area.
Well, again, the problem is if you stay away from the small boundary, but when you go to the big boundary, there's lots of gaps. So if you beat the inner ring, I'm not big on science, but I reckon there's got to be more gaps, bigger gaps on the bigger side.
Get on!
They're going to run. He's going to have to hurry. Gets there, Johnson.
Both players here clearly trying to get leg side of the ball, and that time Bracewell did well and followed Rutherford as he moved to the leg side, and just a 1 off that ball.
I don't know if scientist was the right word I was trying to go for then, Frankie, either. Surveyor?
I mean, we knew what you meant, but yeah. I mean, even maybe the mathematician. Angles.
Slower ball. What's that, geometry?
I feel we might be starting to wade into things we don't actually know much about now.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I reckon at the moment, the Stags have won this power play. I know they've only got the 1 wicket, but I reckon anything under 70 is a win to them. 3 balls remaining. Flower ball in the air. That'll help the Volts. It's just standing there and reacting.
Just the length off it again. Ability to slide on the front foot, get hands through the ball. Rutherford's looked at ease, moving on to 25. 10 off the first 4 balls.
This is a cracking pitch. It really is a top surface. Straight up, there's the opportunity. And taken the big wicket. And the experienced man of Bracewell gets the breakthrough.
If there was any doubt about who was ahead, the power play that is now firmly in the Stags' favour. huge wicket of Rutherford, just looking to force the issue. Braswell angling the ball in, cramping him up for room. Rutherford departs for 25 off just the 15 balls. Volts now 59 for 2.
Yeah, big points now to the Stags.
25 off 15 deliveries. Next to the crease for the Volts, number 21, Nick Kelly.
The man who walked to the crease, a real form player last year. He was timing the ball beautifully, just searching a little bit this year, still been batting nicely, Nick Kelly. Enjoy the pace on the ball. What a big breakthrough for the Stags. Bracewell has been hit for 2 boundaries, but now to pick up the second wicket of Hamish Rutherford. Six gone, 59 for 2.
Time now to go to our man AJ in the crowd.
Yeah, the boys are playing cricket here, so I thought I'll roll the arm over and see what we got. I've only ever got one wicket in my life, and that was my 4-year-old cousin at BYC, so here we go.
Power play completed here at University Oval. Match in the balance. The Volts chasing a mammoth target of 224 for victory. Find themselves nicely placed at 59 for 2. Disappointed to have lost a big wicket of Rutherford right at the back end of that power play. Still in a good position. Plenty of firepower still to come.
They're in a good position, Frankie. Yes, it's a mammoth total to chase down, but there are some runs out here. We were speaking to Hamish Rutherford earlier. He agreed with that. There's a couple of opportunities with a short boundary, but equally, sometimes you have to see a team get runs like that to be able to go, okay, there's a few out here. And if you always have a bit more time than you think, even in T20 cricket, and keep applying yourself, and probably keep wickets in hand is the other key. But the Sparks, Volts could go deep here.
Josh Clarkson into the attack. Hasn't done a lot of bowling as of late. A very useful medium pacer, however. As we saw, such a clean striker of a cricket ball too.
Yeah, really useful all-rounder, exciting player. As are the 2 men at the wicket for Otago at the moment, Nick Kelly, Lou Johnson. Both, I think, some of that firepower you're referring to, Frankie. These 2, young up and coming for sure.
Just picks out point. Unlucky there for Nick Kelly. He was really the find of last season for me in the Super Smash. Strike rate of over 160. One of the leading run scorers. Just made batting look effortless. Could score all around the ground, almost at will. Struggled for a little bit of form so far in the Dream11 Super Smash this season. Oh, with shots like that, you can see why last season was a profitable one for him.
Yeah, certainly didn't struggle on that occasion to crash that one through the covers. Really just a little bit over pitched, and he leaned straight into it, sunk that back leg nicely to get the power behind the ball. Bit of CPL experience too, which will count, probably not from a temperature perspective here in Dunedin, though it is lovely to be here, everybody.
Into the legs again. Good comeback from Clarkson. Yeah, a little bit of a different climate between New Zealand and the CPL. Just good experience for a young player as well, and it shows that if you can dominate and have some good performances here in the Dream11 Super Smash in New Zealand, then doors open up elsewhere. Just the single into extra cover, fielded by Noema Barnett.
George Worker spent some time in the CPL as well, I think 2019. So absolutely doors open up, and not surprisingly when you get good young talent like this, so many all-rounders coming through, Frankie. Not just really good with the ball, but also the bat. And then Nick Kelly's a good example of someone who's lightning in the field and can really pull off a couple of things that are as good as wickets.
It's the exciting thing as well with so many young all-rounders coming through, is it actually pushes some other players on to get better at their second skill. Doug Bracewell is one you think of. Really improved his batting in this previous seasons. Just chips the bowler. Tickner does well. Slides around to keep it to 1. I mean, most people when they think of a Doug Bracewell, they think he's bowler. They think of his test match bowling. 65 for 2 after 7. And that's what they attribute towards his play. But actually now he's a genuine all-rounder, especially in the shorter forms of the game with the white ball. He can bat 7, bowls the tough overs for you. And I think that comes about from just having to stay ahead of the game, staying ahead of the young talent coming through.
Absolutely. He's got to be close to, if not in conversations around T20 New Zealand Black Caps team, particularly with the World Cup coming up. And yet we remember his heroics in Tasmania in the Test match, and that often can define a player, but not so much these days. And this man, I think he'll be key today. Ajaz Patel coming into the attack. Slow bowlers are up against it potentially here with the wind and the short boundary, but this is a classy slow bowler, spin bowler. Let's get specific, but with a big job now.
And picks up a wicket with his first ball, showing his class, Patel.
Wow, what a bowling change. Patel just floats it up, doesn't he? I don't know if it was brave or a little bit loose of a loosener, but not quite, a bit short, not quite to the pitch of the ball, straight to point. Lou Johnson will be frustrated with that. He will have wanted to do better there. And he departs for 17 of 16 balls. The vault's 65 for 3.
Ajaz Patel picks up a wicket with the first ball in his spell. Lou Johnson departs 17 off 16 deliveries. Next to the crease for the Otago Bolts, number 29, Mitch Renwick.
Patel picking up a wicket of his first ball of the day. That brings Mitch Renwick to the crease for the Volts. Another good player in the middle order. Scores quickly, scores all around the ground, but he's going to have to get in quick. Start well against the spin of Patel. Who so kindly gives him a nice little low full toss to get him off the mark.
Yeah, handy wee throwdown, wasn't it? Patel wanted that one to bounce, but yeah, Mitch Renwick, really exciting young keeper batsman. Going well so far this season. They've been up against it, the Sparks, but he's been promising. And Patel, 2 balls in, a run and a wicket. Be looking to protect this short boundary with a left-hander. All the fielders out.
Goes to the Yorker on this occasion, jams Kelly up.
Yeah, it's really smart too. I know Nick Kelly will want to get on with this, and good to get Renwick off strike so Kelly can keep pushing that momentum forward, but Ajaz Patel gives him nothing.
Goes to the sweep on this occasion, but field well set for it. Hasn't been a perfect start from Patel, but he's got away with it so far. 1 for 2 off 4 balls.
Yeah, a bit of everything, and that sweep seemed to have fetched that from a long way outside off stump, which clearly is premeditated, but need to make sure they're scoring off every ball here, the Bolts.
bit of spin off the surface as well for Patel. Be encouraged by that finger spinner.
He will. He gives it a good rip, doesn't he? And we saw a little bit of turn in the women's game. So pitch, obviously not too much more worn after that, but encouraging signs for Patel.
Manages to get out of the over as well. Goes flat across the left-handed Kelly. 8 overs gone. The Volts 68 for 3.
That's a good over, isn't it, from him? You will have enjoyed that as a spinner yourself, Frankie, but just really showed off his range of pace and flight, and just the way he kind of just darts the ball in or floats it up. Have a look at the wickets here. Oh, straight into mid-wicket there, unfortunately. CD fortunate on that occasion after missing a couple of chances. And a back to Patel. And wicket off this first ball.
That's what makes this Stags side so dangerous. They're just full of genuine wicket takers. They've got a spinner who's got good control, picks up a lot of wickets in all formats of the game. Doug Bracewell, really the leader of the attack, so experienced.
Wow, that's good.
You've got Tickner as well, who takes wickets for fun in this format. And then that's when you can start to piece some all-rounders in alongside it. Clarkson bowling now. Noema Barnett's been used a lot to take pace off the ball. It's just a well-rounded, dangerous side with bat and ball.
Certainly showing why they are threatening the top of the table. As Clarkson comes around the wicket.
It's cut hard. Apart from that wonderful cover drive from Nick Kelly, just can't quite get going. Can't quite break free.
It certainly doesn't feel as free-flowing as the CD batsman enjoyed, does it? Obviously cracking along at strike rates of about 200. Otago Volts not enjoying the same as yet, but still 11 or so overs to go.
Good sound off the bat from Renwick. Firmly punched into the offside. That's the key really here for the Volts. They've got to find a way to create a partnership. Really needs to be these two need to bat deep into the innings. But in doing that, they can't let that required run rate get out of control either. Hovering just over the 13 mark, already into dangerous territory. Pace off on this occasion.
Yeah, that's starting to feel uncomfortable, isn't it? 13 odd, and it's also not a case, I don't think, Frankie, of being able to, well, let's target this one bowler, because you haven't got time, have you? You've got to try and get what you can off everybody. There might be some, like, and Clarkson could be one, where you're like, well, he's a little less experienced. Perhaps, you know, if we're going to go, we're going to premeditate, we'll do it with him. But so far, he's holding up pretty well.
That's the thing as well. I think at times teams have looked to target a Joey Field, being the youngster in the bowling lineup, but he's been wonderful with ball in hand, and Clarkson's just following suit. Firmly out towards the cover sweeper, does well. Push hard for 2 on the back of a poor throw.
Yeah, some good field set as well, and I think some of that comes from having an experienced bowling unit. You know, they all help get together in every bowlers meetings. I've never been to one, but I'm sure they're I'm sure they're very insightful. But it means that, you know, that sort of success and that ability to keep it tight is shared.
Goes to the short ball to finish. Chance, deep fine leg, falls short. 6 runs off the over from Clarkson. The Volts 74 for 3.
Overs remaining here at the University of Otago Oval. Your Otago
3 big wickets so far. The Volts find themselves in a little bit of trouble. Rutherford, Broome, Johnson, the 3 to depart. Wickets to Bracewell, Field and Patel. Goes to the sweep, and that is big. That is well up on the bank. That's the kind of striking that the Volts need to see a lot more of from Nick Kelly.
And that's what he is capable of. Clearly thought, we can't let Ajaz Patel get on top of us for another over. Look how wide that was. He fetched it, which you can do when you get down early enough and you hit through that arc beautifully, deliberately hitting in the air, 6 all the way.
Sneaks it on the inside of that short fine leg fielder. Now the boundary to Nick Kelly.
Okay, now is it getting interesting? 10 off 2 balls, that'll certainly help. Needs to continue from here though. Yeah, darted in a little bit quicker, just got enough on it to get it around that fielder behind fine leg for 4.
This is possibly one of those matchups that you talk about, a bowler to target. Left-hander, Kelly taking on the left arm of Patel. Saw it in the first innings. Worker was savage against Kitchen. Maybe a way to get his innings going. Goes to the sweep again and misses out on this occasion.
Yeah, he'll be annoyed about that. Whilst you get the wide, I think he would have preferred the boundary for sure. And he was looking for 6, tried to get under it. Still on the move, I think, was the problem there. But he needs to reset himself now.
Oh, drop chance. Tough chance for the wicketkeeper. Big edge from the bat of Kelly.
Yeah, will that be crucial a bit later? If we just the drift across Kelly. I think it was an under edge, was it? Or no, maybe just a quick top edge straight into the inside thigh. That hurts. Hurts more when you drop it though.
Gives himself room. But well bowled by Patel, just follows him. Able to stay away from that hittable length.
Again, Patel showing his class and experience, follows him as you say, comes back 10 off first 2 balls and says it's all right, I'm in control here, I know what to do.
Back foot square drive. Good recovery from Patel after going 10 for 10 off the first 2 balls. 14 off the over, the Volts 88 for 3.
Here. Just a reminder, you can keep up to date with all the latest.
Worrying thing about that for the Volts is you'd say it's a big over with 14 off it, but it's really only just above the required run rate. Need more of those overs.
You're halfway through. It still doesn't really feel like inroads, does it?
And again, just as there is a hint of a momentum shift, Stags go back to their experienced man and Doug Bracewell, recognising a dangerous Nick Kelly, just starting to get going. Try and chip a wicket here. This turns that round the corner for a single to start the over.
I don't think Bracewell will mind that Kelly gets himself off strike and brings Renwick back on. Still only faced 5 balls. Kelly's a danger man here, and he'll be the boundary hitter at the moment. Not saying Renwick won't get in on that action, but that'll be the one Doug Bracewell is trying to prevent from putting him over the hoardings.
Going for the boundary option. Well held on the boundary rope, however. A fantastic grab, and Bracewell does it again.
Yeah, it feels like he just didn't quite hit this hard enough, Renwick. One of those situations, if you're going to go, you've got to really go. And short from Bracewell, just sort of probably leaning back on it a bit. Used his crease well, but unfortunately just popped it straight down the throat of the boundary fielder.
Doug Bracewell
Joey
picks up his second wicket on the day.
Mitch Renwick departs for 5 runs 89 for 4.
Mitchell with the parts for the Otago Bolts. Next to the crease for the Bolts, number 6, Anaru Kitchen.
On the back of Doug Bracewell picking up his second wicket, Anaru Kitchen comes to the crease. Another powerful striker in this Volts lineup, but there's a lot of work for him still to do. Got to find a way to get himself in quick, be able to access the boundaries, create a partnership with Nick Kelly. Just the control from Bracewell is the thing that sticks out for me. Looks clear in his mind, clear in his plans, and just able to execute them.
The more and more in this format of the game, the ability to get hit and then come back and wipe the slate clean. Sometimes in the past, in earlier formats or other formats, bowlers can struggle with that a bit, but see people more and more able to cope with that. Anaru Kitchen about to face. He's got experience in big innings and played a lot for the Aces up in Auckland. Good matchup.
Yeah, great man to have coming in at number 6. He's got all the skills, all the tricks to go along with it as well. And the thing that stands out for me is just his striking ability to stand still, hit the ball a long way. Diving would have been an outstanding grab.
Well, that was pretty close. It's like Will Young in there. Just kind of flicked it, didn't quite get the power behind it that he wanted. Closer than it looked, I think.
Well, after seeing his efforts at the test match, if anyone's going to pull off something special, could be that man, Will Young. Goes to the short ball and too short, unfortunately, for Bracewell and the Stags. It's the one for the over as well. Still, even with that wide, been a fantastic over. Ability to come back into the attack and pick up a wicket straight away. Such a skill in any format, but especially in the shortest format of the game. Manages to close his over out well. Just the 5 runs off it. 11 overs gone, 93 for 4.
1-3-2, the required needed for victory here in Dunedin. We now cross to AJ, who's up on the embankment.
Yeah, we're perched up here on the fence, and I've found a couple of fellas. One of them is new to live cricket. Kurt, your first game of live cricket?
Yeah, this is actually my first game here at the Uni Oval to watch the Otago Bolts, so it's been a great day. I mean, we could have put on a little bit more crease, but we'll deal with what we've got here.
Yeah, too right. So you'll be back next Thursday, Bolts play again?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, next Thursday I think we'll put the Wellington Firebirds, so we're great to see them in the attack.
A lot of fun being had on the bank of University Oval.
So you're a veteran, mate. You've played it, you've seen it.
Yeah, I've played cricket after a few years. Never been too good, but
Coming into the attack now.
Yeah, it's cool.
Kieran Noima Barnett, very experienced campaigner. Looks to bowl a lot of knuckleballs and change-ups. If anything, it's probably as stock delivery as the off-pace delivery. And then every now and again, bowls an on-pace one, just to keep the batsman honest. He's got good control, good understanding of where he's trying to get hit to.
Yeah, good option for the Stags here, I think, for that exact reason. The control and probably just that, something a little bit different in terms of pace.
Oh! Could have been a chance at the bowler's end. Just a little finger on it.
We're at the point in the game now where the Volts really need to start forcing it, force the envelope, and off these bowlers it's actually a lot harder. And control that Nema Barnett has means the risk has to go up so much more for the batsman.
Going to the favoured sweep shot. It can be hard to set up for that off-pace delivery, hard to tell yourself to expect that one and then just back your instinct to be able to catch up with the faster ball. What makes the knuckleball so difficult is just the little wobble through the air that it gets as well.
So nice that, Van.
Just can't get away. The Volts at the moment trying hard, but just can't get on top of the Stags bowlers.
Yeah, they are trying hard on this occasion, using the depth of the crease, try and give himself room just to crack it through the covers, but can't pierce the gap. A lot of protection out that seems to be keeping the Sparks from getting boundaries.
Catch it.
Chance, nope, one bounce. Long off. You get into this position, you need 15 and over. What's the plan from here if you're the batsman?
Well, you need to start looking at obviously your boundary options, and I don't say that to be oversimplified, but in this occasion maybe it's a lap, inside this fielder here, where you're using your feet to try and put it over the long boundaries.
Standing there trying to drill it down the ground at the moment. Only able to get singles off the over. Just the 6 singles, 12 overs gone, 99 for 4.
Yeah, it's a classic picket fence over from Nema Barnett. 6 singles, and it isn't going to be enough if that's what happens from here. There needs to be a massive over, and it can happen in T20s. You can have 2 or 3 where you get a few 6s and 4s strung together, but at this stage it looks very unlikely. Though this is cricket, anything can happen.
Returning to the bowling crease here for the Central Stags from the media centre.
8 overs remaining, never out of the game, but it is getting increasingly more and more difficult for the Volts. We've got Will Young down on the field. Will, you must be pretty pleased with how the bowlers have been going.
I'm very pleased, just as Joey comes into bowl.
Hit hard into the leg side, and again protection there.
Nice tag.
Joey's been very impressive, Will, since he's come onto the domestic scene. Is he a pretty unflappable character?
Yeah, he's done really well. He's played this whole season, red ball, one days and 2020s now, and he's got one advantage is that he's young and everyone's still figuring him out, but as well he's got a real appetite for learning. He's asked good questions, absolutely loves the game, so I think that's it puts any youngster in good stead to come on the scene and do well.
Bit of improvisation from Nick Kelly, and he gets the boundary for it as well.
Oh, that was sort of what we were discussing just then, wasn't it, Frankie? A bit of improvisation has to happen in order to find the boundary, which is exactly what Nick Kelly does on this occasion, showing all his experience. Very tricky shot to play, low percentage, but when it comes off, it's useful. So, Will, are you saying that Joey Field's good at greasing the captain by asking lots of good questions?
I've taken my skipper's armband off now, so I don't know if he's greasing up or not. No, he's just a good kid, and yeah, as I said before, he's just eager to learn and eager to play cricket.
Seems that we're just saying a lot of these young bowlers are able to hold their own, and even if they go for the first couple of balls of the over, they seem to be able to come back. Is that because of the experience you've got in the rest of your bowling unit?
I think so. Yeah, a lot of people talk about the importance of starting and finishing the over well, but I think if you can get dots anywhere in the over, it's really key. Oh.
Fully inside edge, down to fine leg, running hard for a couple. They all count.
Especially when you're chasing such a big target, I think. Sorry. No, I'm not talking to you, John. You stick in your lane, mate. Yes, such a big target. If you can string a couple of dots together and make them take that risk, that's where we've picked up the poles, and we've got 4 on the board so far, hopefully a few more.
Is that the main discussion point in the side is around bowling dots, and does that change if you've ever got a lower total perhaps to defend than the 220 that the Stags are becoming pretty used to?
Depends on the surface you play on. I think in 2020 cricket you always need to take dots to build up that pressure. If there's a lot, I think this is a really nice true wicket. If perhaps we're playing on a slightly zippier surface, you could, especially in the top 6, the bowlers can get the seam up, really try to, like say, nick guys off or take the glove or whatever. But yeah, I think you just got to adapt to the situation at the end of the day.
No! A full one, and he gets away with it, does Joey Field. He had disappointed Nick Kelly as in himself.
Lovely, mate. Got away with one.
You don't think he planned that?
No, it's a fully outside off the short boundary. I don't think was in the plan, but luckily we got away with that. That's what pressure does. Builds them up, and perhaps they tense up and try to hit a little bit too hard or premeditate and get away with ones like that.
And again, that one shaves the off stump. Joey Field finishes the over with 3 dots. 13 overs gone. We will say thank you and goodbye, Will Young. Best of luck for the rest of the game. Thank you for talking to us.
Thanks very much, guys.
The Volts, a little bit of difficulty here, 106 for 4.
I'll be happy with that, the Stags. The required rate will be 17. So ones are wins.
Well, just even with that single, it popped up 0.2 of a run, I guess we call it. We need an over. So Craig Cumming and Susie Bates return to the commentary box.
Just struggling a bit at the moment, Nick Kelly.
Yeah, tried to look, innovate there again. Didn't quite catch up with it, but that's sort of what he has to do to get this, start to bring this run rate back.
Oh, he's got that. That is better. That's what he needs. Maximums, it's the way they want to work.
Yeah, his eyes lit up there. We saw that in his step hit arc, didn't he? And dispatched it brilliantly after missing out the ball before. But yeah, just a nice little throw down there. Put everything behind it. Needs a few more of those.
Noema Barnett will just vary his pace. He's got knuckleballs, cutters. That one's slower. Good timing this time from Kelly.
It's very well fielded down there on the boundary. And Christian Leopard by the looks. Noema Barnett just pushing that a bit wider. Sometimes you get a little tickle off those. But on that occasion, Nick Kelly able to pop it through for a couple of runs.
Well done.
Well, normally when you need 17 and over, if you get 17 off and over, you go, right, that's a win. For the Volts to get ahead of the game, they need like 24 or 25 off and over. And that'll probably mean they only need 16s.
The problem is, as a batter too, you start trying to overhit the ball and then you miss out on balls that you could hit to the boundary just with good cricket shots, because you know there's pressure to score boundaries.
Yeah, we saw that in the previous over, the wide one outside off stump. But you do, don't you? It's you start to premeditate a lot more.
Wild.
That's in the gaff again. That's the big part of the boundary. If it does well, give it to 2 more. 12 off the over, 118 for 4.
What they are doing well, though, is, and I don't mean to be unkind to Anadu Kitchen, but because he's a new batsman, he's only faced 8 balls, so Nick Kelly seems to be successfully farming the strike, which can be an awkward conversation, but they're doing it well.
Strapping young lad, mate, and you're a cricketer. What do you want to work on in 2021 for your game? Yeah, nice, mate. At school, you're hitting the books Monday to Friday, the grind. What subject you want
So we look at the boundaries so far from the vaults. It's a cracker by Nick Kelly. These are his boundaries. Mostly leg side, but then some innovations on the offside as well. And has, on his occasions when he's hit it over the boundary, put everything behind it. Class player.
Comparison, at this stage, 141 for 3 Central Districts. And George Worker set. So the Volts really need to put the foot down, and I heard Frankie Mackay talking earlier about the Stags. So one of the big benefits they have in their bowling attack is wicket takers. Even though Tickner hasn't got one yet, he's just gone for 8 and over. Perfect man to bring in at this situation.
He hasn't, but he is the top wicket taker for the team so far. He's had a couple of good outings. And is this the nail in the coffin bowling change, do you think, Susie? Is this what they're trying to do here?
I think they know if they get Kelly out now, that's probably game done. So key wicket. Really pleased though to see Kelly get some runs. He's a class player, and if he can bat to the end here, they might still be in with a very slim chance, but they're bowling well, not giving them anything to put away, and like I said, searching for that wicket.
Kelly just helps himself to another single. You're right, he's got to be there, doesn't he, if they're going to win?
In the last 8 overs, they've only given up 4 4s and 2 6s. So when you're chasing over 200, that's what's going to keep you in the game. It's what's going to win you the game, and they've been able to eliminate that from a bowling point of view. It's hit. Is it in the gap? Yes, it's over the boundary. Oh, it went flat. So there's another one. Kitchen decides it's time for me to go as well.
Yep, 8 balls is enough for him. On my 9th, I'm going to hit a 6, he says. Right back in the crease. Just gets the full arc of the bat behind the ball. Beautiful shot up onto the bank.
It's actually got quite dark outside too. It's hard to pick that one up. This time, clothed it, and he's lucky he did, because it didn't carry to mid-on, long on.
The one advantage with this ground is if you can get going from this end, you can pick up maybe 2 or 3 6s and over. So there is the potential for one massive over here to keep them in the game, but the Stags seem to be restricting those boundaries well at the moment.
That's a use. Will it be a wide? I'm not sure why that's not a wide, even though he went across. It was way down leg.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. It must be because of the movement of the batsman, I guess. Yeah, that is, especially with the angle coming around the wicket. After Tickner, we've got Bracer with another over. Field has another over. Clarkson and Patel with a couple each. So, yeah, you've got to start scoring now. You can't wait for the other bowlers, can you?
Well, there's 2 overs left from this end. So who are my best 2 bowlers to bowl from this end? They are going to target it. Up and over, that's nice from Kelly. And another one on the bank. End of the over, 132 for 4. And 50 for Nick Kelly, 36 deliveries. They really need him to be there to the 19th over.
What's nice as well for the Volts is that left-hand, right-hand combination that the Stags use so well throughout the innings. So if Kelly and Kitchen can stay there and have access to both sides of the grounds, that may help them get closer to this target.
So what would they want with 3 to go? With 2 to go? Let's say the last 2 overs. What do you reckon they try and target to have left and will need to chase? 40, 42, would they believe in themselves then? 20 and over?
I think they'll just be trying to hit as many sixes as they can, but yeah, 40 off the last 3 on this ground is potentially achievable, but as soon as one of these 2 are out and you've got a new batter in, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a good point. Just go. Just go. Pull the trigger. Here we go. Oh, bowled him! From outside the wide line, he chops it on the pad and it rolls back and hits off stump.
Well, that's when you know that your day's just not your day, is it? And you can see what Anaru Kitchen was trying to do here, give himself some room, access the offside, but only really accessed the off stump, unfortunately. And fortunately for AJ Patel, another first baller wicket. Anaru Kitchen departs for 15 off 11. Bolts 132 for 5.
Anaru Kitchen departs 15 off 11 deliveries.
I reckon that's one of the problems when you just think of one side of the park. Is that he's looking to go offside, yes, you understand why, but also the ball's coming way down leg and finally he's up like inside the circle. You could just ramp that up over.
I think as well, an experienced bowler like Patel is probably predicting that's what the batter's going to try and do. So you give him the advantage of knowing that you're going to try access the short boundary, whereas you can almost double bluff and stand still and back yourself to clear the big boundary as well.
Righto, sound the horns. Get the trumpets ready. Mitch McClenaghan's coming out. He's got the heavy bat. His shoulders are pumped back. He's got one job. His job is to swing as hard as he can and put as many on the bank as he can. There he goes, he's tried. Has he got enough? But no, he's going to walk back as quick as he came out. 2 and 2 for Patel.
Well, you called it right, Craig. I was about to describe the grown-up innings he played at the Bay Oval to get the vaults over the line, but on this occasion had no choice but to come out and swing just like that. Patel just puts it wide enough. He has to fetch it a little bit too far, straight down deep mid-wicket's throat. Comfortable catch in the end, but has to depart. So Mitch McClenaghan departs for a golden duck. The vaults are 132 for 6.
It's time now to join our man in the crowd for a quick chat. AJ, you with us?
Michael Rippon, who is a very good hitter of the ball and used often at the end of innings. Strides out. Patrick now for AJ Patel. Patrick Ball, sorry.
What do? You shift the field, Suze, or you say, nah, this is what you've got?
I'd bring a couple in, maybe a catcher under the helmet, a slip. What have you got to lose?
Well, you got 22 and over up your sleeve, so you're right. He's at the non-striker's end, so he's not facing. Well, I think this could be a good thing for Patel because maybe Kelly might have a whirl. I think he'll just play. He'll look to get one. Hat-trick ball. And it's not a hat-trick. It was in the air. I got a little bit excited for a start. I got blocked by the big pole.
Well, to be fair, we all got excited. Craig, when you saw it in the air, you're like, surely not a hat-trick. And AJ Patel's 16th over of a T20. But in the end, just a 2.
Beautifully bowled. Really, really good.
Dane Cleaver's kept really well off Patel. I know it's easy, or you think it's easy, left arm spinner, you know, but there's been a couple of really quick Yorkers that he's dealt with extremely well.
Oh, not bad, Jazz. Not bad, Jazzy.
Have to bowl that one again. See, he was trying to do the same thing.
Come on, Jazza.
The reverse. That's a lovely shot. He knew what he was doing. Did Kelly, so the reverse sweep came out.
Yeah, and Patel's, that's what he's asking him to hit, isn't it? Take a big risk. If you want 4, that's what you're going to have to do. And try not to get out at the same time. But he does well here. Early swing, gets in position, good contact. Easy 4.
Into the big pocket. This is a very, very good over from Patel. 9 off it, but 2 wickets. 141 for 6.
Remaining here at University of Otago Oval. Just a reminder, we are back here next Thursday to take on defending champions Wellington Firebirds and the Blaze. It is another double header, so make sure.
Not very often items of clothing make you hungry.
Should be an absolute classic here in Dunedin.
.8 needed. Friend who's got 1 for 25 off 3 overs. Field, sorry, back into the attack.
Well, Volt's operating in the singles at the moment, which unfortunately only serves to increase the required run rate per over. Just up over 21 now.
Well, the Stags got 34 off their last 2 overs. .56 off their last 4.
I'm sure the Volts will be happy even with that, but it would not quite be enough. Something pretty special from here. Let's rip on. He comes in to see what he can do.
Well, it shows just how important. They lost 2 wickets to Stags, and there was 2 good overs 13 and 14 from the Volts. But George Worker, instead of probably pulling back and saying, right, I've got to get through the next 2 overs, said, no, I'm going to go the other way. And he went, pulled the trigger and actually went hard and picked up 2 very good overs. He brought up his 100.
I think often if batsmen are going really well and they try and then pull it back and behave, then that's when things start to go wrong. So I think I believe he made the right decision. We've all been there and thought I'd better just slow down now and then end up getting yourself out.
Oh, he's missed another full toss outside off stump. It's 4 now from memory for Kelly. He'd be disappointed. So nearly at the stage, if they had a 4, the asking rate will go up.
A really difficult time to bat when anything less than a boundary is disappointment. Doesn't matter how clean you hit it, unless it's a boundary, you know you're not quite doing enough for the team.
It's been a really smart bowling performance, and I think when we look back, yes, George Worker, his innings will be the difference. But I also think the Stags have been better with the ball. I think they've been more accurate. George Worker spoke at the half-time break that the Volts are very good tactically. Normally Will Young spoke about it on the mic, but led by Dougie Bracewell, I think the Stags have been on point. Another wonderful over, just the 5 off it. 146 for 6.
The Central District's bowling attack, not only experience, as we talked about earlier, but also some really good young and up and coming. They've got a good balance, haven't they? And then, they don't have to bowl Numa Barnett if they don't want to, but why not?
Potentially helps that their captain has spent the most time out in the middle as well, so can help the bowlers with what the most difficult lengths and pace was to play, and you know, he spent the most time out there and can communicate that to his bowlers.
Patel's been right up there, 3 for 26 off 3 overs. Yeah, and I think the experience for them of playing at Pukekohe Park has helped them when it comes to defending a smaller boundary. The challenge for the Stags will be when they get to the big boundaries. And how they adjust to those.
Wide from Patel, just pushes it down the leg. Again, Dane Cleaver tidies up nicely. McLean Park's another one. The side boundaries are quite small, so Stags get to have experience with that one as well.
As a bowling unit as well, if you can embrace bowling on those shorter boundaries and not fear it, I think you can go a long way as a team to, you know, being really positive when you get to those smaller grounds, and the bowling unit really working hard together to try and reduce the scores.
Well, they're going to have that experience, and it's going to be on Sunday. They go to Christchurch and take on the Kings in the big ground of Hagley, and it's going to be a very special occasion up there in Christchurch. Their first official game under the new lights. They were used during the test match, but this is the official launch. It's going to be a sellout crowd from all accounts. And we'll have it live on Spark Sport. It'll be a great occasion, a wonderful ground. It's going to be lit up.
Georgie. Georges. Easy.
That is the 150 up for the
150 up, yep. 6 new light towers. I'm really looking forward to the occasion on Sunday. The Stags will be part of that along with the Kings. 7:10 live on Spark Sport. This has been a wonderful spell. I know George Worker's 100 will be up there for a Dream11 game changer, but Patel's figures at the moment 3 for 30 with 1 ball to go.
Absolutely, off spinner in a T20. They say it's a batsman's game.
Oh, he's probably lucky he hit it, but it's gone for 4. Could have been a wide. End of the 18th over, 154 for 6.
Interesting, isn't it, when you know, if Otago are unable to pull this back, when often you say, you look at the chasing team strike rate and you go, well, they just didn't get enough runs quickly enough. But if you look down the Sparks, there's not many people under 100, and it just shows how well CD took the game away from them.
Head along there around about 5 minutes after the match concludes, and you can have the opportunity to get your favourite autographs.
Although the Volts will potentially be disappointed with what looks like a inevitable loss today, they'll be really pleased to see Kelly with some runs under his belt going into the back end of the tournament. He was a crucial part of the middle order last season for the Volts.
Ticknap picked up a wicket, which was 4th over. Straight up. Keeper under it, running back's got the gloves on, done a circle and takes it. Good catch. Good catch. And rightly so, Cleaver's the man to claim it.
Well, Dane Cleaver has been immaculate all day, and this is testament to how good a keeper he is. You have to do a lot of work under this ball, particularly when it's spinning around high up in the air. And what he did really well was never took his eye off it. He got there fast and then he set himself. And he didn't run with his hands up in the air like some people do, and gave himself the best chance of hanging onto it. Excellent catch. The Volts lose Ripon for 5. The score is 154 for 7.
Is that the wicket-keeper's version of the crocodile catch? Wasn't really, well, certainly wasn't hands down. It was a little bit, got stuck.
A little bit halfway house, but with those big things on, sometimes it's a bit tricky.
Oh, a bit tricky. See, he did a wee circle, but then yeah, he's actually caught that one-handed, hasn't he? Normally you do catch it predominantly in one hand, but
potentially the light. It is a little bit dark, and he was just too quick.
Yeah, he got there pretty quickly, that's for sure. And picking a white ball out of those clouds would be hard.
but as you said, Rebecca, he's been very good today with the gloves on. Tickner picked up his first wicket.
Cleaver does the fielding even, doing everything today. And another time, you know, there's a lot of good keeper batsmen around. He might be in contention, but, you know, we've got Seifert, Phillips, Lundell, Latham, so many at the moment, and this guy's pretty good.
Been involved in New Zealand Day.
It was about the most eventful dot of the game. Kelly threw everything behind it and then fell over.
I think when they look at it, they obviously missed out on boundaries, but they probably had too many dots today as well amongst it. The volts. It's gone for 4. All that hard work. Just a little bit of backspin on it after he hit it with his hand.
Yeah, Josh Clarkson it was down there. Just smashed it. Nick Kelly through the covers. Clarkson did a lot of good work to get there. And then unfortunately the spin of the ball just defied him.
Oh, he's missed out. I think his reaction said it all.
Getting a little bit of chin action from the fielder. Something about batting for a not out. But you can be assured Nick Kelly is trying to get every run he can. And good point earlier, Susie, about him being in good form for the back end of the season.
That'll be wide. It's not. 19 gone, 158 for 7. You just look at, when you talk about statistics, and Nick Kelly's played really well, and he's on 69 off 51. He's hit 6 4s and 3 6s. That's 42 of his runs and boundaries.
We are into our final over of the match here at University of
So he
Otago.
scored
Doug Bracewell,
27
for the Stags.
off round about 40 deliveries, which will show you the dots. And amongst those excellent boundaries he's hit, and they've added up, and that's probably been the same with most of them.
When there is scoreboard pressure and you're chasing such a big target, that is the danger, that you force the issue and then you miss out on deliveries and you're not timing the ball as well. When you're setting, you sort of react a bit more and you don't have that same scoreboard pressure.
The Stags hit 15 sixes in the innings. That's a lot. That's a lot. Bracewell to finish it off, the last over. And Duffy has not got enough on it. Lucky for him, he's just chipped it with a 54 degree and landed it just short of the green.
You're in a big run chase, Susie. Those dots, they just get more amplified, don't they? Every time you face one, even if you've hit 2 4s, you think, oh, it's just a wasted opportunity. And this game, more than the other formats, is about resources at your disposal, and deliveries are resources. If you're not using them, it starts to weigh down on you.
And we've seen Kelly clearly shows frustration at that because he knows every dot ball counts, and it's a tough ask chasing 2-2-4, especially when you're losing wickets consistently down the other end.
Just fell over again, Kelly. Well, Susie, you said 160 was par. You're right in the second innings. You're not far off.
I thought it was that for the Volts, what was par? No, look, I think the Stags with, 15 sixes, it's always going to bump your score up, and they played extremely well down the ground and to the short boundary.
The definite difference in energy, wasn't there, right from the start? Came out hitting and running and pushing twos. Just well, there probably weren't as many dots, but you certainly didn't notice them.
Top edge. No, take him out and get him. Well, I've gone to my score sheet that I take and score every delivery, and I can tell you roughly around about 38, 39 dot balls for the Volts. I can't quite read one of my dots. But they also well short on boundaries.
How many for the Stags?
I've just got that on the other side of the room. I'll have to go and get it.
Another single, and that's something else there's certainly been plenty of for the Volts, but probably needed more of the 2s, 3s, 4s and 6s. As Craig Cumming just goes to get his piece of paper. Tell us how many dots in the Stags innings.
I think 28 from what I marked down, 28, but 10 different. But it's the boundaries, isn't it? But then the dot balls create the pressure. He just about took out Jacob Duffy.
That's a lot of Lumsden to get out of the way of that shot coming back off Nick Kelly's bat. You can tell he's frustrated, but Duffy does well to evade. Really good shot from the block hole. Bracewell probably not too bothered at this stage. That's maybe where he's trying to get him to hit, but perhaps not that straight.
He's done a good job today, Dougie Bracewell. Bowled the tough overs. Last ball. And he's going to be slided away. It should be just one. And they'll get back for a couple. Might have been close. Kelly, as he run out, we're going to have to check it just to see the formalities, to see whether it's 170 or 171. They're going to shake hands. What we do know is it's been a comprehensive victory to the Stags. They're just going to check it. It will not change anything.
All right, coming in. And the gloves, and
he looks like he's
short.
short.
Please.
So Nick Kelly will be run out off the final ball. So his innings will come to an end. He's run out for 75. They're shaking hands.
We will be back here next Thursday to take on the defending champions.
So it's the Central Stags who have won this encounter at University of Otago Oval by 54 runs. Really good performance after being asked to bat first, led by George Worker with that maiden 100 in the Dream11 Super Smash. Set an imposing target. They got 223. The Volts needed 224 to win. Will Young played a part, 50 of just 23 deliveries. They'll shake hands. And an excellent bowling performance by the Stags. Very disciplined, very controlled. And they were able to execute their plans. So the Stags 223 for 5, and the back of Workers 106. The Otago Volts, they've got through to 170 for 8. Nick Kelly 75. It's plenty of starts, but also excellent bowling. Patel 3 for 34, Bracewell 2 for 41. It is a victory to the Central Stags by 53 runs.
New Zealand Cricket would like to thank some of its official partners for getting today's Dream11 Super Smash doubleheader underway. Dream11, KFC, Dynasty Sport, Gillette, GJ Gardner, Ford, Spark Sport, TVNZ and MediaWorks.
The Stags were comfortable winners here today at University Oval after racking up another score of over 220, and the cornerstone of that was from our Dream11 game changer of the match, and that is George Worker for your 106 of just 58 deliveries. Another wonderful innings from yourself, averaging over 60 in this format so far. Did you have an inkling coming into the Dream11 Super Smash that actually you would due a few good scores?
I was going right in the one days, and it's definitely something I've been working on. I've sort of been a bit disappointed over the last couple of years how I've been, so it was definitely something that I really wanted to do well in.
And with games being pretty close back to back, is it something that you build a bit of momentum into and you just hold that throughout?
Yeah, I think so. I think that definitely helps, and we've been managed to get a few early wins, which is also get ahead of the pack, which has been nice. But